ignite, like, share, subscribe. We'll take flight, find us in Colorado. Raising our voice, filming the cops, it's our choice. Making the meetings, breaking the mold, making the news, the truth be told. On the tube, we spread the word, you people know it's absurd. Free press, we won't digress. Good citizen, yeah, that's our address. Always fighting for what's right, we're the ones who shine so bright.
Yeah, one has less than a month yet, so just kind of
Free press, we won't digress. Good citizen, yeah, that's our address. Always fighting for what's right, we're the ones who shine so bright.
the new people got the same as people who
We the
didn't hear
speakers
it.
of no doubt. Check out the people on YouTube. Shout it out, stand up.
Or if you did what you did last year.
I only like the red one. Yep.
68, but I just did about 500.
Yes, what's up?
Courts, cities, towns, it's time to rise, never back down, hold them accountable. No compromise, we'll win in this fight, one step at a time. Good citizen media, we're here to shine.
I am good. How are you?
Probably. I don't smoke it, that's just
Are they actually cookies and not a sewing kit? I'm good. It's the last thing I need. I'm gonna stick to my candy. Did you want a cookie, Dwayne?
No, thank you.
Okay. Thank you. I took my strawberry candies home last time. Vivian ate them all. You know.
All right, we were gonna shift it and do the discussion with the Ordway mayor first. But we'll go back to the way we have it, and we'll talk about the code of conduct first, and then if Mayor Barber comes, we can go into that part. So the city council guiding, this is kind of two parts. So it's the guiding principles, and then there are the city council procedures and rules of order, which start on page 4. So just, kind of real quick there, if you look at the top, that first paragraph, it says under the authority of section 2-2-80 of the Rocky Ford Municipal Code. So in that code, the way that it reads right now is it says that this Rocky Ford City Council will adopt rules of order and rules meeting procedures. But that's where it stops there. So there's nothing that we have any record of that's been formally adopted or implemented. So this would, in effect, it would be we would adopt the Bob's Rules of Orders, which is a simplified version of the Roberts Rules of Orders. It was kind of drafted or created by Bob Widner, who is currently the city attorney for the city of Centennial. And he's been involved in CML, I think, probably the last 2 to 3 decades. So he's officially published this and kind of shared it with CML. So I think CML has the publishing rights for it. So I know they sent over one hard copy, Do you remember, Rebecca? I think they said they were going to send over one hard copy to all the city clerks. And then we do have a digital access on the CML website.
I'll find it. I don't recall it right offhand.
It would have probably been in
October?
like October of 23
Oh,
or mid 23.
probably thought it was junk.
Yeah, and that's one of the things he talks about is that nobody really follows Robert's Rules of Order. There's like 100 or something different motion types, whereas there's really about 10 that normally are used, and even kind of less than that. There's probably about 3 regular motions that are used kind of typically. So then kind of get into some of the meeting rules, rules of decorum. I think even the meeting rules are really helpful there. I don't know how everyone feels coming into this role, but I think we kind of I think we learned by what was modeled around us, or maybe research that anybody did outside of our council. But this would kind of set that, that anyone would be able to pick this up and at least understand the way that the meetings are ran. And then when it gets into actual, personal conduct by council, and then some of those protocols, just in our role as council members here, our role as liaisons or representatives on any other commissions or boards that we serve on, and then just kind of in general, the expectations of our conduct and interaction with the public and our constituents. And then finally, kind of towards the very end, violations, number 8 violations, kind of gives us there what actions we have available to take if conduct isn't up to what we've agreed upon. And I know, Nick, you had raised a question about a CRS statute, so I don't know if you wanted to speak on that, or
I wish we had our legal counsel to speak, because I'm reading those and I don't see where one says we don't have the authority. We talked earlier about being under 100 versus 200, and I don't see how it's taking us out of. I mean, it describes how we do things, but so does 100.
right? Did you read anything else in 100?
I've read most of it, and like I said, I don't
Did you read the powers of the mayor in 100?
I don't remember off the top of my head.
Yeah, so in 100, in that type of government, the mayor would be actually the marshal. There wouldn't be a chief of police. The mayor would be the marshal. There's no city manager, so the mayor would be responsible for all daily administration. So if you kind of read outside of that, you'll see how that type of structure is different. So that's a statutory city. And then at some point, they kind of broke off and created this different structure, which is the statutory city with the city manager form. And that's when, they kind of rebuilt all the different, all the nuances there. So I know there was a question raised about just what the different, violations or actions that we have to take. So that other one that was brought up isn't included in here. So that's why there. But yeah, I just wanted to check in with you if you wanted to do additional research or get a second opinion.
Like I said, I wish we had competent legal counsel who could actually speak to it. I wasn't real sure what his answer. Two sentences doesn't really answer the question
Okay.
Yeah, I'm still looking at it. I'm not. I'm just trying to understand it better.
Okay, well, right there, that piece isn't included in here because it wouldn't apply to us. But at any time, if we learn differently, then we can add that in under the violations.
One thing I did find doing a little on our handbook that I received when I got on council, ethics, liability, best practices for elected officials, under chapter 6, ethical conduct in local government, under decision and penalty, third paragraph. Importantly, removal from office is a power best reserved for the governing body which holds the power of removal pursuant to the charter for home rule municipalities or state statutes for statutory cities and towns. Moreover, it is important to acknowledge that elected officials remain accountable to the citizens and are subject to recall from office should their constituents still the ethical standards of their official are lacking. For that reason, removal from office should not be removal from office should be considered only in the most serious cases. And that's all I can find on this.
You have to have served at least 6 months before you can recall.
I understand you're talking about two different things.
Yeah.
You're talking about whether the council removes a councilman or whether petition
public.
drive for recalls.
Yeah, well, that's also listed in here. I mean, all that was in there, the choice of recall and all that, yeah, so.
Right, so that the kind of the question there and where the discussion is around is what actions can council take for removing an elected official? And there was a Colorado by statute cited that said that council could remove another council member by vote. I think 2/3 majority. So that applied to a statutory city with a strong mayor, so kind of a strong mayor form of government. And then in the next section under the city manager form, it doesn't have that. It's different there. So for removal. So in that one, it says that council can with 2/3 vote. In ours, it says that they can be removed if they miss more than 2 regular meetings or if they
That's what I said.
move out of city limits.
The same applies to strong mayor. If they miss more than 2 meetings, they can be removed too. In a row, not 2 meetings total.
Like with not calling in or something or not having a reason.
And then home rules another ballgame.
But we're not home rule. There's one other, because when I was at conference, they had you sit in how you were classed, and there was one other, and it was Cripple Creek, I think.
Los Animas.
Something like that. No?
um,
Oh, are they statutory?
Los Animas is
They
a
told me there was just one
statutory
other.
city. Los Animas,
Mhm. I believe they have a
they're
charter.
a statutory city.
Well, Trinidad is, Boston is, Lahana is, Amara is, Eads is.
Lahana has a charter.
So any feedback on this? Any adjustments or anything that just totally doesn't sit right?
The only one I have on this was age, public comment. I know when I was in the audience, doing my thing, I speak before and after, it says public can only speak once. Can't speak twice.
H. Where is that? Oh. there.
2.
Speak once, I mean, not at the same time, but public comment. That was tried last time, they said we can do that.
I got no problem with exceeding their time as long as
So-
we're running a limit of 30 minutes.
And I think this one, it would be, I think the thought here would be like once per kind of section. But yeah, not they would only have one 3-minute time.
So they continue like I used to do.
So right there, if you'd like, in where it says speakers may only speak once, we could add in per public comment section. We are a little unique in having two, so most other cities don't have two. And then what did Nick pointed out about may not cede time to other commenters?
Like at the last meeting, the meeting before he tries, can I use your 3 minutes?
Mhm.
I'd be okay with letting them do it as long as we're running, like it says, we're running a 30-minute limit here. I got a problem with exceeding the time. Because some of the things we discuss, people do legitimately need more than 3 minutes. We can always shut somebody down.
Better if you have multiple people that want to speak, only one speaking on them, you have or something. Same topic.
Well, you also pick 2 times for 'em, so somebody could have a total of 6 minutes. Mr. Parker's been able to do it.
I would say the seating time would be great as long as there's not other people waiting to speak. Everyone that wants to speak should get the opportunity before someone is allowed to cede their additional time to another person.
Makes sense too.
If we have 10 people that get 30, we're eliminating 30 minutes. If there's 10 people that want to speak, those 10 people should get their 3 minutes before someone who isn't going to speak can cede their
And
time.
on that, I'm not disagreeing. We need to start enforcing that to speak, you need to have signed up before.
Yeah, they
Do-
are supposed to sign
We have
in.
to sign in that we want to speak.
That's why I put it right there and when they walk in.
Go down the list if we want to speak, instead of the free-for-all that we allow.
I like
So
that.
do you? So a lot others do that, and I've even seen it's the time to sign up is even like 5 p.m. or 6 p.m. Do you want it like that, or do we say by 7 p.m.? Because once the meeting, that's I think once we kind of start, because Rebecca would be the one that would need to manage that. So
And
maybe
I
we
prefer to
do
know, myself.
we do by
I like that.
by 6:45.
Meeting starts, no more signings
Right.
for speaker.
Maybe
Right.
6:55.
Would you want to do like 6:45, 6:50, or 7?
Not 7, maybe 6:50 maybe or something.
So on H1, to accommodate all people wishing to speak, speakers are requested to sign up by 6:50 p.m. and limit comments to no more than 3 minutes for an individual. And then depending on the business at hand, where it says the scheduled public comment, what if we strike that and put each scheduled public comment portion of the agenda will be held to an overall time limit of 30 minutes? Because the way that's written, it says 30 total. So say 30 on the beginning, 30 at the end. There's only 30 minutes max. So if someone did want to cede time, that would count to that. Anything else there that sticks out to anyone?
On number 3, at the mayor's discretion, it'll be fine. They open that time later or date to be announced. So if you decide to cancel the comment,
Yeah, so I hope I would never ever have to do that. But kind of the thought is if someone was providing public comment and saying just the most awful, terrible things that someone could say, we can't stop them. We can't tell them no. We can't tell them they can't say that because they have their First Amendment right of speech. But there is also the time and place and manner piece to the First Amendment. So we can't tell them to stop or that they can't say what they're saying, but the mayor could pause the meeting and say, I can stop, and it would stop their time. And I can say, hey, we're hearing the direction that this conversation's going. It, may be triggering. If anyone would like to remove themselves from the council chambers, please do that. So if someone didn't want to hear what was being said, they could remove themselves, but the speaker has the right to the floor.
You're still
So we
giving
can't
the
remove
speaker
them.
Freedom to speech, but you're giving the audience a chance to exit.
Right. And then like the extreme side of it is another, I guess, tactic to kind of control the room would be just to call a complete recess. So we would call a recess, and it could be for a few minutes, an hour, or it can be to another day. However, the time would be recorded. So maybe they were 30 seconds in, they would still, at that next meeting, they would be on the floor. They would have the floor first, and they would have their 2.5 minutes to finish. So that's, yeah, again, I hope I would never have to use that. I hope no mayor in Rocky Ford ever has to use that. But that's kind of that piece there.
And if it was something that needed a larger type town hall type discussion, is more what that later date or time could be used for.
No, it would be, yeah,
No.
because if we're closing public comment, it would be really recessing the entire meeting.
Okay.
And once we re-adjourned, we would be starting
At that
the
point.
meeting
Okay.
right at that point.
Okay.
So it's kind of like just we'd be
Okay.
recessing.
Makes sense.
Oh, JR.
I'm a little sensitive to this particular issue, but people coming up to the microphone need to remember that there are slander laws. I'm tuned into live because that's written that the slander is the same way. And the simple example that I like to use is if somebody says J.R. Thompson is a jerk, that could be slander unless they can prove I'm a jerk. But if they say, I think J.R. Thompson is a jerk, then they're protected. That's opinion. And I hope that people would recognize the difference between coming up and saying, so-and-so is wrong, as opposed to saying, I think so-and-so is mistaken. You were talking about First Amendment. First Amendment protects opinion. It does not protect statements of fact that are inaccurate.
And two,
You know that.
I think our notice for public comment does kind of
Okay.
speak to that piece. And I think, Rebecca, if you can print off another copy of that and then maybe laminate it,
Okay.
and we can put it right there, or maybe put 2 of them, and we can put one in the
Where they
back,
sign in.
but also another one right here.
Okay.
And then we can kind of put some of these, you'll be limited to 3 minutes. I saw that in Grand Junction. They had it right on their podium, and I think that was really helpful for people.
Sorry, but that's a touchy issue.
You're good.
Under L, tenants and emphasis. Now, we might have our speed limits, whatever you want to call them. We have legitimate reasons, whatever. If somebody's habitual, so many times a year, or something. I know I screwed up a while back. I just totally forgot the date. I messed up with the first thing I did when I got in there. I screwed up my bad. I apologize. But if we have people that are missing several meetings over throughout the year, is there any?
Can you check your mics? Make sure they're on. It's like Nicole's, yours might be off.
Mine's on.
You need to, did you turn it off?
Okay. Any noise, man? Better?
Test, test.
Yeah, I don't get as good as you guys.
Test, test. And it should be pulled towards you.
Does it have a switch on it?
This whole section. They didn't want to hear you.
Yeah, mine's on.
That one. The main
Yours is working.
Better?
Yes,
Testing,
Nicholas,
testing.
yours is working.
Now it's
Working now?
working. Is that good unplugged?
Testing?
That one's working.
That helps. Any better?
Try turning it up.
Set the volume.
Test, test.
Can you hear me now?
There we go. Back in business.
Okay. Sorry about that. We were just getting comments that they could hear me, but not everybody else. Robert, where were you?
Well, just under, what was it, L, attendance, absences? No reason for other than absence due to circumstances unforeseen, unavoidable, such as emergencies, illness, vacations. But if we got, I mean, this, it's a position we asked for. We asked to be up here to represent the citizens. And if we have a hard time making the meetings, it's hard to get done business.
Well, I think we haven't enforced that. I mean, I love Larry, but there was many times that we usually gone.
Well, and I think that's part of why Sherry ended up stepping down is because she was
Yeah, she
away a
wasn't
lot
around.
and she felt that was not fair to us. So I would agree that, yes, we take these positions and we should make every effort to be here.
One of the things I've seen in another board, I don't know if we would do the same way, but just on the agenda, it would be kind of noted that, so at the bottom of our agenda where it's where like we have upcoming meetings, it would note absences. So we would see on there, director so-and-so missed the last meeting. So then if they were also gone at this meeting, then that following meeting, it would say 2, and then there would be also an agenda item and a discussion there.
We approve and
I
decline.
think it's kind of just, it's been, yeah, at someone's discretion, but yeah, we've never taken any action. I don't know if you remember, I remember it had come up with Dexter Buck back in 19-ish. I think that was the last time that's really been enforced.
We, to the best of my knowledge, council has never removed somebody, but there have been recalls, which is a whole different issue. But my question was, if somebody knows they're going to be gone and for a good reason, and at previous meeting they say to the rest of the council, I've got to be gone next meeting for thus and such reason, I presume that council has the ability to say, that's fine, and excuse the absence. Just,
Yeah, and it does kind of speak to that of, just communication,
Yeah.
just communicating that, and that way we're aware, and, when we're kind of sitting, we know, and we could say, Mullins did communicate with us and let us know that he was sick and he wasn't going to be in person. I think he said he was going to join via Zoom though.
Thomas?
I don't think you need to be as formal with the school board, but when somebody's gonna be gone from the school board, they actually vote to excuse that member's absence. And it's almost a routine thing. I mean, if it's a legitimate reason. And they've said ahead of time why they're not gonna be here.
But yeah, I think speaking to just the expectation of us all to know that we've signed up for this and we're as best as possible expected to be here for 23 meetings a month, a year. 23 months a year.
Get a whole lot more done like that. He wants everybody here. Yeah.
I'm like 23. I'm trying to come up with 23, and then I remembered we almost always take off Christmas week.
Yeah, I won't be here 2 weeks.
So unless you want to do it. or
No,
you have
I'm
to do
good,
it.
especially because it's Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
I'll be at church.
It could be some, if it wasn't, yeah, maybe, but no, I'm good.
Some weird thing.
It is.
Anything else anyone's wants to look at? And I think too, if we can implement this now, and then we can rework this, I think it would be really good, especially for the guiding principles, to review those every year at our retreat, which we usually do in the beginning of the year, February-ish. And, if we're looking at the mission, strategic objectives, or any of those commitments, we can adjust this every year at that retreat, and then maybe re-sign and do our commitment for that year.
The only other thing I have is on section 4, making public statements, including by social media. And I don't know about you all, but when we do have somebody on Zoom or whatever, I can't hear them whenever they're talking. I mean, can we do something to better so when they speak, when it's on social media, or Zoom or whatever?
So it's only happened one time ever. We don't ever take Zoom public comment, but I think it is something that we do want to start doing. So the last 2 meetings, was it last meeting or 2 meetings?
You couldn't
Last
hear
meeting,
her,
yes.
She was on Zoom, but I couldn't hear her on the live stream.
Yeah, so we looked at it and we got that fixed. I don't know. maybe-
Yeah, I could hear, I was on the Facebook Live and I could hear her talking, but I couldn't, but you guys couldn't hear her.
Good citizen or John Danick Bullitt want to maybe use you as to help us test this. I'm going to meet you. Can you share some words with us, and we're going to see if we can hear you.
Can you hear me okay?
We can hear you, John.
Yes,
Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you.
All right. The only issue that you're having now, though, is I can't hear myself talking to you.
Give me 1 sec. I want to try something else. I'm going to put you back on mute, John. Thomas, can you unmute yourself?
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Were you able to hear John when he just spoke?
Yeah, I heard him loud and clear. Actually, everybody sounds pretty good. Sorry I couldn't make it in there today, by the way. I'm sick.
You're good, and we'll actually, if you want to stay off mute, Thomas, and you can join this conversation during the work session and then for sure during the regular meeting.
Okay.
But yeah, if you need to go on mute, see that we can hear you in the room speakers pretty loud and clear. That's good, and we are looking at
And then
just some different.
nobody can hear what JR says either.
Yeah, that's gonna, I guess, just be a habit thing that we're gonna have to pick up on.
I was gonna say can we just get JR his own mic, at least for a while,
Just have to sit in the mic there.
at least during the work sessions, because he does give some good feedback during work sessions.
Okay, I'm seeing a comment about conflict of interest. So conflict of interest is, of course, it's covered in statute for ethics for elected officials. It is also expressly stated in our municipal code. And then in these rules and procedures, it's going to be under 5E. So a council member may be recused if such member has a direct financial conflict of interest as defined in CRS 24-18-109, in which case the member shall declare the conflict. If a council member believes they may have a conflict of interest, such member must confer with the city attorney prior to the meeting whenever possible. In the event of a declared financial conflict of interest, the council member must, there's any discussion or consideration of the item. So it's not just you're going to recuse yourself from the vote. You're also going to recuse yourself from the discussion. And the best thing to do, just to eliminate any anything, that could be body language or facial, or just the urge to want to jump into the conversation, is you would remove yourself from the council chambers while the discussion and the vote takes place. Yeah, disclosure would be public information. It would be stated on the record. So for example, I would say agenda item 13.1, I'm declaring a conflict of interest. I'm going to recuse myself from that. You could say what the conflict of interest is. I'm the owner of that company. My sister is one of the bidders or vendors, so I'm going to recuse myself and then physically go out of council chambers. So that would be stated on the record for Rebecca to record. Thomas, did you have anything?
No, I read through that the other day. I mean, it seems pretty thorough. I like it.
So I guess as it, I know we mentioned a couple edits in here. So with those edits, would we be good pushing this over for, we would adopt this by resolution, and we'd probably do that whatever the next day is, January 10th, 12th, 14th.
So, and back to the subject we were talking about it before. We have violations in here, and we have a certain list of stuff here that we can do right now. I'm reading through the 31.4.200, and it says that they can punish members for misconduct. Nothing in there says, it says we have the right to make the rules. Why is removing somebody from council not on the table? That's what I'm trying to understand.
So are you saying,
If somebody,
are you saying us putting that into municipal
from what
code?
I read, it sounds like we can do that. If
We can, we
choose
absolutely can. We can
So,
make any laws in the
and
city.
it may not be an everyday thing, and I hope it doesn't ever have to be used, but I think that needs to be in our, if we're gonna, yeah, we can admonish them, we can censure them, we can remove them from appointments and from pro tem positions. But if they're gonna continue to act like that, if things are gonna happen, we need to have the trust from the citizenry that we're gonna do what needs to be done and not afford, what if, okay, so we run into a situation where we don't do the job of removing somebody. The citizenry goes through with getting the signatures and pulling a recall. Now we've cost our city $10,000 because we end up having to cover a recall over something that we, as the council, should have taken care of. We should be holding each other accountable so that the citizens don't have to hold us accountable.
Right, and so just to speak to that, the reasoning, or one of the debate on that is because if someone was elected by their constituents, we should be honoring the wish of their constituents. So the recall process is in place to honor the wishes of that person's constituents. If we were to remove someone, it's a removal of maybe five people's opinion versus the hundreds of people in that person's ward. So that's the debate, that's the argument. So if what I would say is, if you would like to carry that proposal, that's what we're here for, is to put rules and policy into place to protect our community. So,
like I said, I hope we never have to use it, but I think that it should be a form of, I mean, if we're allowed to punish, which we should be, then that needs to be on the table, or some of us could just come up here and run amok because there's no, okay, what are they gonna do? They're gonna censure me? I don't give, whatever. They're gonna remove me from a board? Hey, one less meeting. I mean, we really, without having some form of actual, you can't do this anymore, there's nothing that stops them.
yeah, we'll recognize Thomas here.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, great. I hear both arguments here, and I think they're both correct. And it's something that I've wrestled with too. You definitely don't want to just willy-nilly overturn voter opinion for many reasons. One, we could get a clique within city council, and then 3 people just decide they want to eliminate, or maybe 4 people decide they want to eliminate the rest of the council and stack it. So there are concerns here. However, the state constitution lays out a method which requires a 2/3 vote, which it's more unlikely for that to happen. And it's a similar type of thing that we see in federal government too. If you want to remove officials, there are processes that are extremely difficult. And 2/3 vote in this chamber for something like that would be difficult. And I think if we do it, we should entertain such a thing. In fact, as far as I can tell, we already have that ability under the state constitution. I'm sorry if I missed a part of that already, that discussion, but if there's still some question about that ability, I think we should just mimic what the state constitution says and just write that into our code so that from now on, there's no question about it. And I mean, if it's good for other cities, I think it's probably okay for us. And like I say, I think that's a good balance where we don't have to worry about just a simple majority, especially if there's only 6 people in a council making a decision like that for the city. So, I mean, with a 7-person, with a full council, that would require 6 members to vote that person off. So everyone, unless that person had to recuse themselves, I don't know, technically they would, then it would require 4, but no, it would still require 5. So there could only be 1 dissent either way.
And they would be able to take a vote on that.
So it would still just be, it would have to be unanimous basically to get 2/3 vote. It would have to be 6 to 7, because 5 to 7 would only, that wouldn't make your 65 or 66%, I don't think. Anyways, that's just my bit on it.
Again, it's something that I wish we had a lawyer. I mean, this is.
Mr. Mayor, if I in my office receive a recall petition that's been circulated, or that will be, at first I'd have to approve the form, the petition, and then once it's circulated, they are required to get 20% of the vote of that ward from the last election. So wouldn't that be considered the public speaking if they get, at that point?
Yeah,
So,
it's a recall.
so then would you go ahead with the recall, or at that point utilize your powers?
Is it specific to just ward?
It would be to that specific ward.
Except.
And
Yeah,
then
It was the
except-
mayor, and then it would be city at large.
they would have to
But
get
I-
20% of the population of that ward to sign that petition.
I would highly recommend for each council member, mayor, I'm sure you probably already all read it, but refresh yourself with the ethics, liability, best practices, put out by CIRSA. But like I said, under this chapter 6, the ethical conduct, read the whole thing. I only read through the one paragraph there under the decision and penalty. There's 200 paragraphs before that. Maybe I should read them here. In the event that a hearing body or officer finds a violation of ethical standards, a penalty may be in order. Obviously, the severity of the penalty can vary depending upon the seriousness of the violation. Penalties may range from a simple letter
Admonition.
there you go, and censure to removal of public servant from certain duties or responsibilities, to more drastic action including removal from elective office. Next paragraph, it is exceedingly rare for ethical violations to result in a monetary fine. A monetary fine or action to void a contract resulting from unethical conduct is most appropriate where the ethical violation caused probable financial harm to the community. These types of violations are best prosecuted by the district attorney under public trust provisions of the state law. I just highly recommend we all read this and go over it again. I mean,
Is everyone familiar? So Robert's reading from the CIRSA Handbook for Elected Officials. Is everyone good on that with your copy, or do you know where to reference that if ever needed?
Yes.
Okay. So everyone would have received a copy. Everyone receives a copy. Rebecca does have copies in her office if you ever need a replacement. And then on the CIRSA website, and then almost all of their newsletters, they always kind of have it, their document library on there, but you're able to access it there in PDF form. And I think to kind of follow up where you're at, so what you're talking about would be we would be passing a new ordinance to add that into our municipal code. So on here in
Yeah, that's stuff on the very last page.
the making changes, updates. So yeah, we also have something in here about, so it's number 9. So page 11, number 9, amendments. So these rules and orders and procedures may be amended by a majority vote of council present at a council meeting in which a quorum exists. Any proposed amendments shall be submitted in writing to each member of council at least 10 days in advance of the city council meeting at which such amendments are to be considered. Yeah, that's right. So yeah, we can make amendments to this at any time, just requires a majority vote. So if we were to implement new ordinance into the code, we'd be able to come in just a little bit after that and make any changes to this to reflect that. Everybody all good here? So I do have, I made some notes on this one. Some of the changes I'll make in there, I think it was almost everything was around public comment. And then I'll change that from a draft, take that draft watermark off there and get it back out to everyone. And then we would plan to put this up, propose it to be passed by resolution at the January 14th meeting. Is when we,
So this would be a resolution, not an order.
yeah, just by resolution. Yeah. So we have a little bit of time. So between now and then, January 14th, if there is anything else or if we get new information, let's make sure we have this the way we want it.
So apparently the mayor of Boardway is not going to show. So that makes that easy now.
On the regular meeting, 10.1, presentation value-wide, he called and said he's not gonna be able to make it. He called me really quick, said he had to go behind us, so he wasn't there. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, we'll get that changed and yeah, invitations open. So yeah, thanks for coordinating that, Robert.
What was
And,
that about?
They just wanted to come in and kind of share some updates and
They got the new facility, I guess.
Could everyone do me and the public a favor? I can hear Dwayne really well, but I think the rest of you, maybe the microphones aren't pointed exactly right or something. If you could get those a little bit closer, I think it'd be nice for everyone. And just a question for Dwayne. What is going on with our city attorney? Do we not have a city attorney as of right now?
no, we have a city attorney the same way we've, I guess, had one the last couple of years. Just the only thing is he recommended that it would be good for us to put it out to bid for city attorneys. We've been with Nathan since 2020. It's never been, his contract hasn't been reviewed. It's just kind of been renewed. I think there was, it stood same rate for the first 3 years, and then last year there was a rate increase. But
Is he like,
just best
do we pay
practice?
him like hourly or something, or?
Yeah, he does bill hourly. Are we $4.50 or 95? 195. Oh, 195 an hour.
Okay.
I'd like to see us pick up some legal counsel that would be here. I know it says in our ordinances and our protocols that we are supposed to have them here at a city council meeting, and I think that a lot of what we deal with, that we tend to argue about some things, is because we don't have that man who that's supposed to be their expertise.
Yeah, and I'll kind of point out the JR's here kind of has some historical knowledge. Our budget for city attorney used to be substantial. It used to be probably what it should be. The former city manager reduced that to approximately 6,000, maybe even less. No. Kyle, can you?
Somewhere around that.
It was around 3. So our city attorney stopped coming to every meeting at some point during that under our last city manager. Bart Mendenhall used to be here every day.
Yeah, I mean, if we got to pay,
So it would be, what it would be now is it would be a budgetary thing, because I think this year we are, again, allocating about, what is it, 3? 45
Give me a minute. I'll get back to you.
well, if we got to do another 3,000 or whatever to bill him for, 2 hours a month so that he can come to the city council meeting, I think that's probably going to be advisable for us.
Yeah, I agree. That's something we probably should figure out the funds for.
And even if they can't make it in person, they can do it once we got everything up and rolling.
Yeah, and that's included in the RFP, kind of talking about that, because I think that is just a direction that everything is going, is just more and more using Zoom. I think that's something we had talked about with Nathan and put into the RFP is, even if he, like right now, if we knew that there was something that we knew for sure we were gonna need his advisement on, he would, he can join via Zoom and then drop, when we know we're heading on to a part of the agenda that we don't need any advisement. That way we can kind of save on that billing. And, if he were to come in person, he's probably going to want to stick around and not, come and go. But if he joins, or if a city attorney joins virtually, we can kind of use their time more efficiently there.
Well, it's just like at our last meeting, I asked you to contact Nathan for an answer ASAP, and it took 2 weeks to get an answer.
Yeah, that's,
Yeah.
I mean, that concerns me. I mean, I don't know if we have the right to reach. I think we do have the right to reach out to the city attorney. So I feel like I know we're probably not customer number one, but like our issues, we often need answers to relatively quickly.
JR?
Just wanted to share with you a little history from when I was on council, mayor. The city attorney at that point simply had a flat fee that they would pay, and it included coming to council meetings.
And I think
It was not an hourly rate, it was a flat fee.
yeah, I think that's more what it should be. I mean, not how we do our judge.
Well, okay, I don't know, I'm just giving you history. I'm not speaking one way or the other for it, just so you know that that's what it used to be.
Right.
The only difference is with the judge, we can, his time is set.
Yeah.
Whereas with the city attorney, the council meetings are set, but all of the other things that are going on. So, right now we have 2 open cases filed with these properties. If there's an investigation comes up, or if just any questions, any new contracts that are sent over to him, so those ones, it's a lot harder to,
Well, then maybe we
to
need to have,
estimate.
maybe our contract needs to say, there's a base pay, and this is what we expect out of it, and then anything above and beyond, it'll break down to an hourly. Because we could do it, you're here at our meetings and we get, the equivalent of 10 hours or whatever that may be, and then extra above and beyond that comes up, obviously they deserve to be paid for their time. But I do know I'd like to see one here.
Everybody good? All right, I'll call the regular meeting of the Rocky Ford City Council to order. Time is 7:01 p.m. Rebecca, will you do the roll call, please?
Barone.
Here.
Martinez.
Here.
Mosby. Here. Roberts.
Here.
Mullins. Are you there, Tom?
I am here.
And Mayor Gurley.
Here. If you'll all rise and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance
Allegiance
flag
to
of
the United States of America,
and
to the republic
stands
for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, stood up at home comment.
Do you want to just acknowledge we have Councilman Mullins joining us virtually via Zoom. Nicole, will you read the mission statement, please?
Yes. To improve the quality of life in the city of Rocky Ford, making it a great place to live and work while strengthening relationships and creating pride in the community.
Thank you. All right, we'll move on to public comment. If anyone would like to address council on any items that are not on the agenda, please come up now.
My name is Gary Reed. Of course, everybody up here knows me, but for those of you guys in the clouds, I live at 201 East South 2nd Street, which is basically out of the city limits, but I do own property in the town. I own a couple of businesses in town. So what I want to talk about right now is nothing that's on the agenda, but it is something that's come across a few meetings ago, and then it come across this morning on my show with Dwayne, and that is predatory property owners. And I'm a little bothered by that term, predatory property owner, which apparently is a property owner that buys property in town and then doesn't sell it, doesn't lease it. So I guess my question is, what exactly, Dwayne, is a predatory property owner? And why is that term being used? Because for starters, anybody that buys a piece of property here, I don't care whether you buy it on taxes, You buy it through a realtor. Dwayne, you should know your wife's a realtor. I guess she still is. She used to be. And people's business plans, they're different. A guy might come in from out of town, buy a piece of property on tax lien, or buy it through a real estate agent. He may not ever plan on renting it, and who knows if he's going to plan on selling it. But to me, that is nobody's business. I mean, that's like me asking Dwayne, how much money do you have in your bank account, Dwayne? Anybody? Anybody want to answer that one for me? Anybody want to tell me how much? I mean, I know how much you have in yours, but you know, it's none of their business. It's none of you guys' business. What that property owner does with that property, as long as he pays the taxes, he keeps it up, and I don't know. Some places in Lahan, especially, they charge for utilities. Whether you're have anybody in the house or not, you still pay fees because it takes fees to make that water go through the system and out of the system. But to use the term predatory property owner, that's a little offensive to me. And to me, you want to talk about predatory property owners, that's okay, I'm not going to go there. But so that's people taking advantage. I mean, sure, I have to rent my places or I don't make any money. That's my business plan, right? And I don't know what anybody else's issues are, what their business plans are. But again, it's none of my business what they do. To me, predatory should be those guys who are sucking money from the government, and they're doing it right here. They're doing it right here in town. They're doing it all the way from Fowler to wherever, and they're taking money away from HUD, who pays a lot of rent for a lot of people, and they're sucking money away for one family that could go to 2, sometimes 3 families. And to me, that's the predatory part that we're talking about, but nobody else is talking about that. So anyway, that's my 3 minutes and close to it. And I just want you to know that I'm a little offended. And of course, Dwayne was on the show this morning, and I mean, if he wants to explain what he wants to talk about as far as being a predatory lender or predatory property owner, then he can. But
Thanks, Senator. Can I make a comment along with Gary?
Yeah, you can come up for public comment.
So I'm Thomas Martin, and you all know me. I'm a property owner too. I was just offended as Gary this morning. I'll quote what Mr. Grule said. Good citizen, one of the big issues with growth is there are predatory property owners who do not want to sell or lease their properties. We have businesses who are trying to come to Rocky Ford. We have 4 commercial businesses for sale and 1 for lease. And we have dozens of houses sitting empty, so we create a challenge for housing. So my question to you is, Mr. Grule, you know that probably me and Gary are one of the largest property owners in the city. Every time we come here, I'm attacked because you don't like my vacant houses, honestly. The other question is you don't like the condition of my houses the way they are. But I'm not a predatory property owner. I own properties and fixing them up. You never take the time as a city council or a mayor to see what I've accomplished in the city. There's quite a few. I'm doing one on 13th and Sycamore. Go by and look. A house has been vacant for 20 years. Just spent $55,000 on it. Neighbors love me. Mr. Marty is my neighbor. I'm working on another one on Marty's house, another $65,000 project. It offends the hell out of me to be called a predatory property owner. I know that you were directing that towards me, Mr. Grule, in my opinion. The thing is it doesn't matter what we do with our properties as a landlord, as long as they're maintained and within health standards. You got to realize that only people can afford a certain amount of rent. I can't rent a $250,000 house out like people think online for $600 a month. I put a house for sale for rent for $1,250, and I had like 40 comments the first day that my prices were too high, and basically I was a scumbag. So how do you expect me to rent a property when I advertise online, when the city council and people see online that, hey, in my opinion, he's a scumbag? I don't think I'm a scumbag. I do a lot for the city that you don't see. My wife donates tons of toys to kids that need it. We donate things to the city, to Stacy Malinsky. We give things to the city. And I'm not here asking for acknowledgement. Did we not give things to the city, Mr. Malinsky? Gave you paint to paint the whole city building inside and one side. I don't ask for anything. But for me to be called a predatory property owner, or whoever you were responding to online, I don't know. I think it was directed for me, in my opinion, but I don't know. I don't think that's right. And the other thing is, if you're going to set out these new rules of code of ethics, look at yourself before what you say, because everything you say on Facebook is recorded. I can look back at everything you've ever had on a city council meeting. Be responsible. What you say in public affects people in public. What you say here in the city council member meeting affects me and other people that are citizens. Transparency. You weren't transparent when you sold the property behind me to Innovative Water Technologies. You never advertised that. But as I drive here, you're talking about all these rules and transparency. Stop the sale. Be transparent. Put that property up for bid like it should be. Like Mr. Martinez said, never sold a thing in life that wasn't published online or put up for bid. I mean, if you want to sell a dump truck, put it online. Put it up for bid. Put it in a newspaper, whatever. The other thing is Mr. Mullins and Mr. Martinez asked for Mrs. Roberts to resign. She's still here. What's going to happen with that? If there's nothing to be accused of, then publish it. Simple as that. I'd like to respond to my questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have anyone else for public comment?
Will you please respond to my predatory?
All right, we'll move on to the consent agenda. Consent agenda includes the following items. It's the approval of previous meeting minutes, application for renewal of retail marijuana store from Rocky's Best, 1701 Elm Avenue, application for renewal of liquor license, Mini Mart Inc., DBA Loaf and Jug, application for special event permit, Rocky Ford Chamber of Commerce at the Gobin Building for Saturday, December 14th from noon to midnight.
I just want to say something right here because one of the council members had some questions regarding the Mini Mart and Loaf and Jug renewal app. And they had a few violations in one of their stores in Fort Collins area or Denver area, I believe. And I sent some information to the council member regarding the corporate policy and their how they take care of that kind of thing, even though they hadn't had any violations here. But I did reach out to Carol Coates and ask if they'd been called for anything there or had any violations, and she said no, and there hasn't been any violations here, and the council members seem to be okay with the response that he got. So I just wanted to mention that because it was whether we didn't know if it was going to be on the consent or not. Okay.
And Robert, you're good
That
with
was
that?
me, and I reviewed their policy and everything, several pages of corporate policy procedures of how they deal with all of their stores to prevent sales, illegal sales, and repercussions and how they handle everything afterwards. So it was questions I had, what's being done to prevent it and everything. Yeah, I was happy with what I saw. I kept it for my files.
Okay. So with that, I'd entertain a motion to approve consent agenda.
Make a motion to approve consent agenda 8.1, approval of previous minutes, 11/26/24. 8.2, application for renewal of retail marijuana store, Rocky's Best, 1701 Elm Avenue, Rocky Ford. 8.3, application for renewal of liquor license, Mini Mart, DBA Loaf and Jug, 305 North 10th Street, Rocky Ford. And 8.4, application for special permit, Rocky Ford Chamber of Commerce at the Gobin Building, 105 North Main Street, Rocky Ford, for Saturday, December 14th, 2024, from noon to midnight. And Saturday, December 21, 2024, from noon to midnight, so 2 weeks.
I second.
Okay, call the vote.
Barone,
Yes.
Martinez,
Yes.
Mosby,
Yes.
Yes.
Mullins,
Yes.
Mayor Gurley.
Yes. Okay, consent agenda is approved. We'll move on to the approval of the agenda, and the only amendment that I have is the under 10.1, we'll remove that presentation from Valleywide Health Services, and we'll be inviting them to come to a future meeting. Get a Motion to approve agenda?
Motion, or I make a motion that we approve tonight's agenda.
I second.
Okay, call the vote.
Martinez,
Yes.
Mosby,
Yes.
Roberts,
Yes.
Mullins,
Yes.
Barone,
Yes.
Mayor Gurley.
Yes. Right. And I'm actually gonna back us up a little bit. I did just notice something, Rebecca, that if we need to kind of formally adjust it, but the 10-2 proclamation. So that one, right now, we would be approving the proclamation. So can we do it here as action, or do we need to move it to new business? Just take action on it here. Okay. So under proclamation 10-2, what we have is a proclamation to recognize a young man who recently reached the level of Eagle Scout, which is the highest rank of the Boy Scouts. So kind of worked with Robert on this one. John Smith, he actually lives in Lahana, but he is family from Rocky Ford, and the project that he did was he hosted food drives around Rocky Ford and other communities and donated to the small town project, Rocky Ford Food Share. So that was his, I don't know what they call it, but kind of his capstone project to reach that final badge. So we did want to present a proclamation that would recognize for that achievement. When we were doing this, kind of took a step back and just thought about the process, the proclamation process. I think normally what we've seen, Arbor Day, some of the other ones like that are really kind of standard, or we've had them for 33 years. So with new proclamations, I was thinking about the current process, the way that we've been doing things. And I was thinking, so what if we presented a proclamation that was possibly contentious or that full council didn't agree on? I think in the past we've kind of just, consensus, is this good? But what if it wasn't? And what if it was something that, I want to proclaim this day, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. So in thinking through that, I think it would be good in the future if when we have new proclamations, we would do them at a meeting. We would present it at the meeting under new business. We would vote, have the discussion if there needed to be discussion. We could actually take the time to sign it, so we're not scrambling trying to get all of our signatures on it at the end. And then at the next meeting, we would invite that group. If it was, the last one we did was the Arkansas Valley Hospice. So then we would invite them to that next meeting, and we would really just be, presenting the proclamation, and it would be more of a presentation, and we can, do the photographs and all of that. But just, thinking we haven't run into it yet, but wanting to prepare for anything, if it was something that, because any one of the council members, any one of us can propose something like this. And yeah, if it wasn't something that the city of Rocky Ford stood behind by council's majority, we want to make sure that we don't put ourselves in a predicament, put someone else in an ugly situation. So kind of wanted to talk about that process, and then we'll go through this.
I mean, we kind of got to be on the ball and no last minute proclamations, right? Can't bring it to you.
I think that's good, and kind of like we're talking, having a set of rules. I think we've really all just jumped into this without knowing, and nobody had an instruction manual, so we've been learning along the way. But hopefully, we can create that instruction manual for the future. Yeah, JR.
Just a little background, I agree with you that if it's a council proclamation, council all participated. What we did when I was on council was the council would move to authorize the mayor to sign a proclamation. And then it was.
I don't know why they don't give that guy in the audience of his own mic or something.
We've done that before.
Yeah, but I
It's
mean,
not an every time
make-
thing,
he's
yeah.
talking about making it happen.
Make him get up, stand at the podium or something.
Good idea.
Right.
All right, so on this one, I'll read it and maybe, Robert, you want to do the honors and read it?
Does he have a
Oh.
copy?
Okay, got the draft here, okay. Proclamation recognizing Eagle Scout
Okay.
John Smith.
This is just
Whereas John Smith has.
streamed off Facebook, guys. If anybody wants to see it over there, it's there.
Achieved the highest rank of Eagle Scout. And whereas the vision of the Boy Scouts of America is to prepare every eligible youth in America to become responsible, participating citizens and leaders who are guided by the Scout oath and law. And whereas an Eagle Scout devotes endless hours fulfilling many requirements for the advancement in scouting, including attaining 21 merit badges, holding prerequisite ranks and offices in advance of coordinating their Eagle Scout project and completing an examination by the Eagle Scout Board of Review. And whereas the Boy Scouts of America encourage Eagle Scout candidates to complete worthy projects to improve their neighborhoods, community, and the region. And whereas citizens of the Rocky Ford appreciate his hard work to address food insecurity for families in Rocky Ford and across the southeast Colorado region by hosting food drives and donating to the Rocky Ford Food Share. Now therefore, I, Dwayne Gurley, Mayor and City Council of the City of Rocky Ford, Colorado, do hereby congratulate and recognize John Smith for his achievement of the rank of Eagle Scout, the highest rank in the Boy Scouts of America. We are proud to have him as a member of our community. Proclaim this day, this 10th day of December.
This guy's hard to hear too.
So on this,
Yeah.
just looking for general consensus or any discussion to authorize signature.
I did a little Google search and I had discussed with you. I know Lahana has the Kashar Indian Dancers, they're a Boy Scout. I think it's Troop 232 if I remember right. When I was growing up, they were the #1 troop in America with the highest number of Eagle Scouts. And I did a little research and I don't have it in front of me, but just Google Eagle Scout recipients over the years, and he's a very good company. We have ex-presidents of the United States are Eagle Scouts, famous writers, authors, movie stars, athletes. I mean, there's just so many. He's a really good, and I know growing up, the guys that I associated with that did become Eagle Scouts, pretty much everybody that gets that rank,
The volume sucks.
they go on and pursue and get
The
back.
guy's cranked all the way up, yeah.
Yeah.
Just a little statistic. The last time I saw the statistic, 7% of all Boy Scouts attain the rank of Eagle. It's not something that just happens. You gotta work at it.
It's a lot of work. I remember the kids, I never got it back, but I'd help them with some of the stuff.
I happen to be an Eagle.
Well, congratulations. Good company.
And
Always prepared.
I will note too, just hearing that it is a small percentage of them that achieve that rank. And John also received a thank you and a notice from President-elect Trump recognizing that achievement too. So that was really cool to see. All right, so we have consensus, authorized to sign.
Yes, proud to have that young man part of our community.
So with that, what we'll do is we'll invite him to the next meeting or two. We'll coordinate and get him here and we can present that to him formally. All right, we'll move on to staff reports. Stacy?
Excuse me, the only update on the properties at Liberty School, thanks to Chief Gonzalez, found out that the Liberty School had been auctioned in a tax lien in 2021. So we have a new owner and some contact there. The mayor and I are working with the State of Colorado Governor's Office on the Thriving Communities Project. We received word that the application was approved to go to full application. This would be concentrating on the Brewer construction site and Liberty School for sites for assessment and planning. I did send certified letters to both Earl Brewer and this J.C. Hom. In those letters was a consent to access the properties, and this would just allow us to gain access to do the assessment on the properties to check for asbestos and other harmful contaminants. I sent a letter to the tenant at 1101 Lincoln regarding the rent increase, and that a lease agreement would follow. Did receive some a quote back on the sign audit from Colorado Barricade, and that was in the handouts. Nicole made some recommendations on the precision concrete contract, and Rick has already contacted Wayne Hobbs there, so we still want to move forward with that. I had a few calls about the community engagement fund for council, and it was just suggesting that everyone sign a conflict of interest statement to build the trust in the community, commitment to transparency for accountability, and to avoid personal interest and biased decision making. Also want to start recognizing staff 4 years of service, and purchase plaques for the 5, 10, those increments, and you'll see that in the handout as well. Looking to do an all-staff event to honor these employees, along with that Christmas bonuses, and that was from the Pinnacle reimbursement. We had cloud permit training on Friday the 6th. Rick and I did that. It was an 1.5-hour training. It was pretty intensive. There's 2 more trainings before we can go live with that. The Rocky Ford Library is doing a Jingle and Mingle event on Thursday the 19th from 5:30 to 7. Santa will be there. They'll do cookie decorating, card decorating, and letters to Santa. Rocky Ford Public Works will be hosting Santa at City Hall on Friday the 20th between 5 and 7, and K2 basketball will kick off this Saturday down at the fairgrounds. And not on the report, but I did want to mention that the Rocky Ford Elks donated $500 for registration for kids for next year, and another $1,200 for equipment for the kids. So appreciate that donation to the Parks and Rec. It'll be for next year.
Yeah, but there's not a date yet.
No, no. That's all I have on.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Question, I don't mean to put you on the hot seat, but what's the status of the fence going around the water treatment facility?
We've got the fundings there. We're just waiting for the weather to get better to get it up, but we've got staff that can do this work. I know we paid some Dunnigan Construction to do the work, and I did send a certified letter saying that we would take action if we didn't hear back, and we never even got the slip back, but that'll get going. And then we have another fence that was hit up at Babcock Park, so once it starts warming up, we've got all that.
I also seen the canal bridge going around on, I think, by the park, Library Park, and I guess that'd be 11th.
Yep.
That got wiped out.
Yeah, that's been that way for a couple weeks, or a
The
couple months
snowstorm, I
actually.
think, yeah. Thank you.
Any other questions on city manager's report?
You may never get that certified letter. One of the Dunnigans passed away not long ago. So I'm not sure which member.
All right, so we have the museum curator report, which we received from Rob Marshall monthly, and I'll kind of save that for Councilman Mullins if he wants to provide any highlights during his council report in the museum. We'll move down to
Thank you.
business. Thomas, did you have something? We'll move
No,
down.
I just said thank you. That's all.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you. We'll move down to old business. It'll be 13.1, revision update on the City Council Community Engagement Fund. So we all have that. I think since last time, really that feedback, and Stacy just shared, was talking about conflict of interest or bias. I think another comment was around who would approve it, what the oversight was.
No, I'm okay.
So
Thank you.
the way we have it on there is it would be approved by council. So any projects or community engagement expenses would need to be brought. So we would bring it as new business, kind of present it as a project with the budget and any attached expenses, proposed expenses, and then there would be discussion and an approval there. Most all these should be planned event type things, or if it's
What's up, John?
everything
Good
would
people.
be planned to talk
Hey
through,
guys, what's up?
or deny it, and then work through any questions that were out there. But those were some of the questions, and I think one of the things is, around the conflict of interest. One of the things that we could do is we can either put it directly into here, that we would, we can either list any possible conflicts of interest ahead of time, or in here we do talk about a conflict of interest, but yeah, kind of look for any ideas anyone has there. I will just kind of share an example. One of them that I can think of would be, I guess, two examples. There's a lot always happening, but on the grant side, Small Town Project is an organization that I co-founded. I'm the development director, so my position is bringing in resources to the organization, like grants. So that one would have a direct financial conflict of interest with me. I would also even extend that to, well, I guess not so much Robert, but I think because of me, I would almost say we would take Small Town Project off of the list of organizations eligible to receive funding. If anyone was employed by, someone who
Chamber of Commerce, I think, should be
Chamber of
excluded
Commerce,
from that as well.
Valley White Health System, any of the organizations like that, we would want to pull those. And then on the event side, one that I would think of would be, for example, like Cinco de Mayo.
Conflict of
which is one that
interest.
Small Town Project has taken the lead.
Wouldn't that be like
would again be another one of
Nicole
those that
being
would
on
present a conflict of
multiple
interest.
boards?
So I think we could
And
either
manager of the Gobin?
set something in here where we list all of our conflicts of interest. I think that's also something that could be done, maybe included in our guiding principles and our commitments. So there is something on paper.
Sorry, had to step out.
As position changes, but that way there is something documented, something to hold ourselves accountable to.
Well, it's just conflict of interest and accountability.
I mean, that can change.
Something government don't like to talk about.
I think it's hilarious because there is so many
We're such a small community.
conflicts going
We're
on.
all related to somebody, or we're all involved with somebody, so there's always gonna be that. I like to, to get approval, I like that it has to come in front of here, because then it brings it to the community as well. I'd like to leave it open for community. When we bring those things and say, hey, we wanna fund this, then I think I have a chance to also put in their 2 cents or whatnot, because it's ultimately their money.
Well, and having the group here that we're hoping to help, or, the activity we're trying to help, somebody that represents that would also be good. Just to have them here so that they can explain what they are asking for.
Well, and
funding
we
for.
could, and maybe it needs to be done before we're sworn in, just a direct conflict of interest form. Here's what my conflicts might be, and signed off before we take the seat officially, so that it's on record. Because there is some things that are going to be definite conflicts. I don't see a bunch of them, but I mean, I think that would be back to that transparency. And then it kind of covers our bases on every other little thing. We don't have to go and do it for funding. We don't have to go do it for all this other stuff. It's already on file.
Well, on that, I would say, maybe if we were to do it with these, which we would revisit every year and kind of re-sign to our commitments. So that's where we would be able to have that chance to update it. it would, it's definitely a policy for us. It's not, there's nothing in state statute or our code about, I guess, at what point and before the actual conversation or decision comes up, that's kind of where the last straw is. At that point is when, if there is a conflict of interest, you need to recuse, and that's laid out. But it doesn't give us anything before that. So we can put that in our guiding principles and code of conduct, or we can draft up something.
And definitely
Totally
something we
separate.
can talk about when we do our little retreat. So,
Well, it isn't something where we all just get to willy-nilly decide where something goes. It's something that we have to put some thought into. We have to lay out an actual plan for it and bring before all of us to say, yes, this is something we feel that council should be supporting. It's not something that I can just come in and say, I want to sponsor a chamber event or something. No, it's, I'm thinking more of sports teams and, different activities at the schools and different things throughout the community.
She's not thinking about the go-bin and the conflict of
See,
interest.
we all have our, so but we all have to bring it here and everybody has to agree. It's not something that I just get to decide what I want to do with mine. It's not a free for all.
Two questions I have on this, under the community engagement fund. Now, can wards band together? I mean, each council member will receive $1,000, but can Ward 2 match or work together with Ward 1 or Ward 3 and say, hey, we want to do this as, instead of just spending it on your wards?
Yeah, absolutely.
That'd be just for the verbiage. And then one thing I don't like the way this is provided is provide targeted assistance to residents and organizations addressing financial hardships. I mean,
Yeah, and I apologize for that. We do have an updated, because that was brought up last time. So I have an updated version. I think I need to get that sent over to you. Because I took that out on this copy. I think you brought that up last time. Yeah. That one was, that line that they're speaking to for anyone is for being able to provide utility assistance. So that one was struck out. Just could create a lot more problems than we want this to support community engagement.
I'd just like to add, because this is definitely something, even though we're talking about small amounts of money, because council members are spending it, you better believe the public is going to be really eyeballing this type of stuff. And Robert and I were talking briefly about it, and I really think we should try to make it so that, because we're not really talking about a lot of money, we're talking about $80 a month per council member, roughly. And it'd be great if we could find a way to multiply that. I don't know how realistic it is, but I think it might work if we, maybe we got 10 volunteers or something like that to help pick up the community and exchange, like we can, like, hey, after we're done, we're going to have a small party, and that's what we could do that month. And that way we get $1,000 worth of work done for the community for $80. I think that's really, really justifiable and a good use of the city funds.
Yeah, and thanks for breaking it down, because I think when you put that into that perspective, one of the examples, just thinking about this program, was the fireside chats that Councilman Martinez does, and he hosts those once a month. And if he were to provide coffee and maybe some light snacks, that could probably be about $40 a month. That right now he would be doing out of pocket. I know when I was doing the cafecitos, I was spending about $40 on coffee from the cafe shop and donuts from Daylight Donuts, and that was coming out of my pocket. So I think when you break it down to that, if it is something like that, that's kind of exactly one of the types of activities that we're modeling this off of, is like his fireside chat or coffee with council, something like that. I know Robert had talked about like a block party that would, maybe he is just going to do that for Ward 3, or council members came together and said, let's do, a citywide barbecue, just because, not for any holiday or anything, but we're just going to do it just because those would be the types of activities that this could be used for.
Dude, they should just go all in and say, the hell with that. Let's get the high school kids to do it for free and tell them that they have to do it in order to graduate.
The police at the park where they open the pool up, when we've done them down here in the past, we have the community that shows up. So being able to fund these a little bit, I think, is going to be a positive. I think we're going to see a lot of us kind of working together to do things because big events like that aren't going to be done on the cheap. So when we work together, we're going to see those things happen. Whether it's, you know, the movies, the pool, whatever. It's get the community involved. Maybe we'll see more people in here every week. Or every 2 weeks.
Anything else, anyone? So one thing, the copy that I think we have printed out there, and it's under Roman numeral 2 and then 2 use of funds. I think what would be maybe the 5th bullet about the utility systems. That is taken out. And then, so on that copy, I think, where it says the fund, does it say general fund or does it say community development fund?
It should say. Previous version.
City's community development fund.
Okay, so that piece we had updated already, but okay, yeah, we'll make those other changes.
Yeah, I don't think we want to be hitting the general fund.
There's anything to hear. It may start hitting bad. Yeah.
We're always picking on Kyle.
Yes, any other feedback on this? Final changes we want to make? Next steps is we would add this to the January 14th for action by resolution. So again, we got a little bit of time with this, got another month. So if you hear any feedback or any changes, connect with me and we'll get those updated, and then we'll make sure we get the updated copy out to everyone. Okay, we'll move on to item 13.2. And these ones coming up, I know the last time we just kind of wanted to create space for any discussion around them. So want to check again if there needs to be any discussion on these, or if not, we can make a motion combining all of these, and they would all need to be read by title. Is that right, Rebecca? But we could make a motion to approve all 3 of them at once on final reading.
That's why I don't want to do as much that much. Okay, I make a motion that we approve 13.2 ordinance number 980, an ordinance levying general property taxes for the year 2024 to help defray the costs of government for the city of Rocky Ford, Colorado for the 2025 budget year, and for the mill levy on each dollar the assessed value thereon, as shown by the assessor of the Otero County for the year 2024, as fixed by the Board of Equalization on final reading. Oh, we're gonna do them all?
Yeah.
Oh, dang it. 13.3, ordinance number 981, an ordinance summarizing expenditures and revenues for each fund and adopting a budget for the city of Rocky Ford, Colorado for the calendar year beginning on the first day of January 2025 and ending on the last day of December 2025 on final reading. And 13.4, ordinance number 982, an ordinance appropriating sums of money to the various funds of the amount of and for the purpose as set forth in the ordinance for the city of Rocky Ford, Colorado for the year 2025 budget year on final reading.
I second.
We have a motion to approve ordinance number 980, 981, and 982 on final reading by Councilwoman Roberts and a second by Martinez. Will you call the vote?
Mullins,
Yes.
thank you. Barone,
Yes.
Martinez,
Yes.
Mosby,
Yes.
Roberts.
Yes.
Mayor Gurley.
Yes.
Get that money.
Those ordinances are approved, and with that, the 2025 budget for the city of Rocky Ford is approved.
Look at that tomorrow. Thank God.
Take vacation.
Thank you.
Next meeting, we'll start screwing.
Can
it
I
up.
leave now?
We'll find a way to mess it up later.
Yeah, well, I'm a good fight, never bit of that.
Hey, that's what we have you here for.
All right, under new business, 15.1 is the city council meeting rules and code of conduct. So this
Conduct, boys.
one, we did have discussion on this in work session. So as far as some of the changes that need to be made, we did recognize some of those. We will be making those. Just want to speak to, what this is and why we're doing this and the need for it. So looking at our, kind of what we go by is we have our state constitution, and there's an article under there that provides some rules for us. We pull most of those down into our municipal code, and then we build on those. In our municipal code, there's a section that says the council will adopt a set of meeting rules and Nick, if you have it right there,
I know.
but kind of a code of conduct and a way to address council misconduct. But that's kind of where it stops. So it really does leave it up for interpretation, and it leaves us really struggling to understand what we can or we can't do. So in that, it's a good time right now at the end of the year, ahead of the new year, to put something in place. That way, for one, accountability on our side, something that we can look to and say, this is another one of my guiding principles. Of course, we have the United States Constitution, we have the Colorado Constitution, we have the Rocky Ford Municipal Code, and then this would be a policy specific to us that we can look to and know, okay, are my actions within or outside of the bounds? Is the meeting procedures, are those proper? Are we doing things the right way in meetings? It can kind of help us take away a lot of the doubt of us taking action because we don't know what to do, or we're afraid because we don't want to make fools of ourselves in doing the wrong thing. So it's another thing that kind of gives us something to help, and it provides that for the future.
No, looks like they're buffering. They'll come right back. I'm sure. Thanks y'all for being here. Appreciate you.
Oh, they
This
got
is
the
live on
Chamber of Commerce
Facebook
members.
page.
So beyond us, to JR.
Real quick question. This includes the section that the council's signed off on, right?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
So kind of look to council. Any other comments? I know we did work through this in the work session. So again, we do have some edits we'll make, but anything else here?
We're motioning for it today. We're going to revise it, come back with it in January.
Yeah, so we'll revise it and we'll bring this back for action by resolution at our January 14th meeting.
It's just kind of like Councilmember Martinez had said, we can draft out anything we want to draft, but if we have no way to enforce it, it's really not any good.
We're gonna bring it back up January 14th, guys. Code of Conduct and Ethics.
So you can change it and you can change
And maybe we need to have, this just popped in my head, maybe it needs to say in there that we will review this every year when we have our retreats to make sure not only are we aware of what it says and refreshing our own memories, but if something needs to be changed, that we're on top of it, instead of it just being something else that gets forgotten again. And yeah, it's there, it's in our thing, but because how many ordinances and things do we have that are just, they've been there for 20 years?
Disappears.
You know,
So how about right there on the section about amendments, we can start that section by saying this will be reviewed annually. And then it goes on to say this can also be amended at any time by a majority vote of council. For sure. Good right there.
Dwayne, can you clarify? I should have brought this up in work session, but it kind of goes along with what Nick just said. We should have it so that whenever there's a new council member, they sign it. And I think everybody should just sign it annually. Whenever it changes or the council changes, as in there's a new member, I think we should just make that like a tradition. And I just want to make a comment to the public here. Like, one thing to note about this is, you know, you might come in and you have a complaint about this or that on somebody on the council, and you want something done, and this sets forth procedures to do so, and those procedures are more valuable than any one incident, because we're setting up a tradition that hopefully, I mean, that's what the goal here is that in the future we have accountability, and hopefully that extends to beyond after we're gone. So I think this is a great thing for the city.
Thank you, Thomas. All right, everyone. Well, thank you. We'll get this updated and we'll have this ready for January 14th. And I think in the meantime, maybe it is draft. I don't know. Were we able to post our agenda packet to the website?
Sure did.
Okay, so in the meantime, if anyone receives questions, on the city website under the council meetings, under the calendar, you can look at the agenda packet for tonight's meeting, and probably even last meeting, and you can find it there. So any of the citizens, any public that wants to review what this looks like, you can find that on the city website. So yeah, if anyone fields any questions from people, you can direct them there. All right, we'll move on to 15.2, and that'll be the Employee Years of Service Awards and Christmas Bonus. Stacy, you want to take the lead on that one?
Yes, so we got back $24,910 from Pinnacle. In the last 2 years, that has been split up and given as Christmas bonuses. The last 2 years, they were done 2 different ways. Last year, I think that everybody got the same amount. There was some grumblings about that, saying equal isn't equitable. I get both sides of it. Some of that was that, some employees that have been here, maybe a month got the same amount of somebody who had been here all year. Those were some of the comments. Anyway, aside from all that, I felt it was important that the city get back to recognizing staff for years of service. Going through the list, there's 19 staff members that have 5 or more years of service. And notably, Ralph Gallegos has been here for 32 years. That's amazing. Mike Shima's been here for 30, 15 years or more. I've been here for 19, 10 years or more. Rick Long, Rebecca, Tim Moore, Shelly Valdez, Liana Chavez, and Chief Gonzalez. And then 5 years or more. Tom Valencia, Carol Coates, Andy Hartless, June Ferraro, Eric Encinas, Raquel Gonzalez, Cami Savoy, Jacob Rodriguez, Mia Herrera, and Mary Mora. And so what I'm trying to do this year, and I did buy the plaques for it. So even if they're at 9 years, 7 years, 6 years, they're going to get recognized as a 5-year employee. And then those 9 years next year will get recognized as a 10, and the same with the 10 or more, some are at 13 and 11, they're going to get recognized as a 10, just to catch them up. I will be recognized as a 15, even though I have 19 years. And then, so then it was just, just trying to put a value to that, which there was no rhyme or reason to how that was done. And then the remainder of the employees were 4 years or less. And so four of the employees, they work like 12 hours, so they're not like a full-time, even a part-time employee. And then one employee has maybe been here 4 weeks. So that was where some of those 4 got different. So this was just my recommendation, and you can certainly go back and do the 24,910 minus the 500 that I've spent on the plaques and engraving, and then everybody gets the same amount. So totally your call there, and we don't have to do anything too. So
Bring it over to council if you've had some time to review this. If you have any questions about the structure or any modifications you would propose.
Yeah, sorry. Stacy, just clarification is there's a Christmas bonus and then there's a years in service. Are these 2 separate things, or is this
they're
just
the same
one?
thing. It would just be that the people that years of service, they're going to get a plaque with their bonus, but they're going to get a little bit more based on their years of service. And I can
So they
email
are
you
going to get
this
different.
file.
So you're saying like Ralph with 32 years, he'll get more than 800?
You'll get that amount
That's
plus
what
a plaque.
it'll be the Christmas and
No,
That is the
that's
bonus
that's the bonus for years of service.
and Christmas. Like,
Yes, we're basing their Christmas bonus off their years of service.
I guess the only question I have is employees that have left and come back, should their time reset or?
So I know there is one that I can think of in particular, and I did inquire with HR, and it was the way he was brought back. So I can't change that.
It just, if you have an employee voluntarily leave and then come back, even if it's a day that he's gone or she.
Right, so one of them that, I don't know if we're talking about the same one, I don't want to name names, but it was how the former administration brought him back, where it looked like he took 2 weeks off, was just brought back, and he didn't lose anything. One of the other ones it wasn't that way. He lost everything and came back and started his.
Was the letter of resignation turned in?
That I don't know.
I mean, that would clarify a lot of things.
Yeah.
For one of them, yes, it came to council.
If somebody leaves voluntarily and then come back, I think it's not fair to the people that stayed that they resume where they left. That's not right.
Yeah, I agree with you. That wasn't.
So what I'm I think kind of what I'm hearing and what I would look to Stacy on is, the prior
I don't know, guys.
administration, did that.
Should have
and,
refreshed this to get a little grainy on us. And they buffered out. So we'll refresh this here.
that probably wasn't done the right way,
Oh,
and
still grainy.
it would be done differently moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, especially if there's a letter of resignation, I mean, you have that, then I mean, that should be easy to clear up. I mean,
Well, most places have a policy that you can bridge your time, which you have to buy back. If you're gone, not very long, and you come back to the same company, they allow you to buy back the time to bridge your years for your retirement.
Is that a policy that we have?
We do not. That's what I say. That's what I was asking. Did he bridge his time? But it wasn't required, nor is it one of our policies here.
Yeah, and I'd just like to add to that in like the private sector, there's some different policies, but they all pretty much allow you to do that. If I go back to JP Morgan Chase, I've already got 6 years there. Okay. And the same thing with USAA. I've got time there. If I go back there, some companies like USAA are more liberal with some of these things. And there are grumblings among people who've been there a long time. But I think what we need to keep in mind is that the goal of these things is so that we keep people here. And if we make it seem like we're nitpicking and like we're going to punish this person for this, or USA didn't do any of that, which is why they have such great retention there. People that come in there, yeah, they worked there a month. Guess what? They got a Christmas bonus. They got a Christmas bonus. They were hired there and they got their Christmas bonus, and it makes them feel important. It makes them want to stay there. It makes them feel part of the team. And I think it's a great idea to do that. And I think we should allow people to bridge their retirements. I don't know what the process is.
That's really a valid point. And really, we're only arguing about a $75 difference. So I feel that it being something that we look at in the future would completely make sense to me.
Is there a policy employees? I mean, the only thing I've ever received is when I requested, all I have is a handbook for new hires. But is there policies in place for employees on how to, kind of like what we just did for us, how to act, code of conduct?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, it needs to be updated, but last time it was updated was 2022. So we're working on some ways to update that.
I mean, that's not forever ago. It's
No, but they need to be current.
yes, a lot has changed.
Absolutely.
But
And I'm not really
I'm
talking
okay with
about
acknowledging
the
that.
employees, whatever employees, if somebody resigns, quits, whatever, walks away, and then they come back, it's not fair to play employees that stay, if the employees brought back full retention. And, I'm not saying get rid of employees, I'm just saying, hey, if they want to come back, that's fine, they come back. But, the people that they left shouldn't, I don't know, that's not right.
Well, it's however he was brought back was a personnel issue between him and the manager, and you can't get into those.
Well, yeah, past administration and everything else, but they're going forward, something new.
Well, if you have a policy regarding that, and that's why I said every place else I've worked, they've allowed you to bridge your time, but you have to pay for it, you have to buy it. And so it's fair to everybody that,
That's
and
been
if
42
you-
years, we never had that.
we did, and if you leave the company in good standing, put in your resignation and do your 2 weeks or whatever you've agreed on, that's, I shouldn't be punished if something didn't work out and I come back and you're rehired.
Well, getting rehired, yeah, that's not what I'm talking, getting rehired like you never left.
Well, I would have to buy back that time.
Yeah, and maybe I'm confused here. So I'll just state out loud what I'm thinking. What I believe is fair for employees is if it's the way it works in most private companies, and I don't know about how governments usually work or city governments, but if you work someplace for 10 years and then sometimes an opportunity comes up, you think it's going to be great. This happened to one of my good friends. Turned out to be a really bad opportunity, and he was gone for 6 months and he came back. He didn't get credit for those 6 months when he came back to JP Morgan Chase, but when he came back, his time that he started working there didn't start at zero. It's not like, because I don't think it's going to be fair if we say to people, well, yes, you worked here for a decade, but you know what? You tried this other thing. It didn't work out for 2 weeks or 2 years, and you came back. We accepted you with open arms, but we're going to make you start out at the same level as this other person as far as it goes towards your retirement. That doesn't sit right with me.
Okay, so we're hearing, that kind of recognize that there has been an issue, and that issue would need to be addressed by policy, which would be in the employee handbook. Stacy is working on that. It does need to be updated. I think also just, kind of since this is coming up now, just ensuring that what currently we're running off of a 2022 version, that is still the current version. I know on there it does provide kind of a signature page for the employee to acknowledge that they've received it. So as long as we know that people are receiving that, they're signing it, there should be a copy of that signature page with her. And that's the policies that we're working off of until those policies are updated.
On the 5 years and above, are we going to have maybe a get together, a dinner, and honor these people?
I would like to. I just know from the past that some departments can't attend, especially like communications dispatch, because once they're in there, they can't leave. So it's hard for them to attend. I've seen in the past where some departments don't come at all. And so it seemed like the most representation that we've got in the past was to do something mid-morning for an hour. We would meet at the public safety building, give out bonuses, make these recognize these employees, and a little snack, and then they're on the way. It's probably more than likely what's going to happen. And I know individual departments have their own Christmas parties.
Okay. And now we're giving them plaques. Is there a way we can display somewhere here at City Hall showing our people who serve? I mean, Ralph served 32 years. Benny was here
20 some.
Just almost as long. If we had somewhere, we have a wall space that we have our former mayors on. If we could display our employees who put in that kind of time, I think it'd be nice too, so that everybody knows. Because we know because we're looking at the sheet and we know these people, but who else gets to see that and understand how that's not easy nowadays. Stick
Well,
around
and even look
maybe
like
even go back a little ways too, because we've had some amazingly wonderful
Yeah,
employees over the years.
Benny needs to be up there.
Oh, I agree. Benny,
Some of the
and,
guys
yeah,
that
yeah.
have put in many years with this community, and just kind of show some appreciation, because I think that would go big
sure.
with our employees.
And even the 19 employees that have five or more years, I mean, that's 213
That's
years.
a lot of years
collectively.
combined there. We couldn't run this city without them.
Yeah, JR?
I have a personal interest in this. If you were gonna give away certificates, I'd sure like to get pictures of them.
That would be awesome.
Definitely.
Yeah,
Appreciate that.
maybe that could kind of off of Nick. So if we can't bring them all together to present it, maybe I don't know what you had planned, but maybe you and their director, and maybe even one or two council members.
Yeah, get a hold of some of us to go with you.
If you're doing these kind of maybe department by department or however, and then being able to get photographs of them.
Yeah, get a
And then,
photo up.
I'd be
those.
happy to come take.
And also letting us know when you're having that get together, so that if we have the ability to even just stop by for a few minutes to say thank you to everyone. I mean, that's.
I'm not recommending you have to do this, but at least when Susan was mayor, the council, fixed a meal for them and served it at the event center.
Yeah, I got no
So it's a come and
problem
go
with that.
thing where they can come in, go through the line and get something. But at one point they stopped and made, here's presentations, here's our 5-year, our 10-year, our 30-year, whatever. And we got the pictures then. But, I'm not saying you guys have to do that. I'm just saying.
Well, I mean, I
Susan
would
decided she wanted to do that when she was mayor.
be opposed to us getting together and help hosting that for our
I'd love to do something like that.
employees.
Yeah.
I
Speaking of, thank you, council member Mr. Nick, for lunch today.
Just make sure you can take some hopefully to the staff that can.
Yes. Well, and doing it at the public safety building makes it so at least we're right there next to the communication center.
Okay, so on this one, we would be looking at an approval. If there's no changes anyone wants to make, we'd be looking for an approval on the years of service and bonuses for the city employees.
I would like to make a motion that we approve the schedule presented by Stacy for the 2024 years of service and bonuses schedule.
I second that.
Call the vote, Rebecca?
Mosby,
Yes.
Roberts,
Yes.
Mullins, excuse me,
Yes.
Barone,
Yes.
Martinez,
Yes.
Mayor Gurley.
Yes. All right, those
Joke. It's cold.
service awards and holiday bonuses have been approved. We'll move on to 15.3, which will be the announcement of the Catlin and Rocky Ford ditch shares. So the city of Rocky Ford owns agricultural shares in the Catlin Canal and in the Rocky Ford ditch. We don't use those, so we do have that asset that can be leased out. I think prior to 2022, it had been with the same user for several years. In 2022, we put it out for a new bid, and each year we've done that since, so 22, 23, 24. I know in 23, George Hansis from the Catlin Canal, the timing of it was done a lot later. So he had advised that we have those notices in before the head gates open around March. So I know last year we did this at the end of the year like this. So kind of want to set this in place. So what we'd be doing is putting these out for bid. Rebecca would post them, and we would take bids that would be reviewed. Are they January second meeting?
The second meeting.
So they would be
28.
due and reviewed on January 28th. And we would be able to award those to the users for the upcoming 2025 season.
And this would be for a yearly lease? And the Rocky Ford doesn't use any of the water from either ditch?
No.
These are agricultural shares.
How many shares do we have on each?
I didn't really, I didn't,
Gosh,
I
it's
can
split
get
up
it.
weird last year, every dime a day. And
Yeah, they are.
got a
The city has a seat on board of directors of the Rocky Ford ditch, problem with Aurora. Aurora doesn't have to do it, they can control the entire board, but they've always kept one of those 5 seats available. And even though he doesn't live in Rocky Ford, I believe Neil Van Dyke is the person who sits on that board as a representative of the city. Just information.
I did stop by, well, actually, I stopped by both. The one
Now, I don't know about Catlin, but I do know that Aurora said, hey, CSU can have one member and Rocky Ford can have one member because they're the next, they're much smaller than what Aurora owns, but they're the next largest groups. So with Aurora having 3 people on it, it don't make any difference. They control everything that happens. But it was a courtesy thing.
Still should be there, whether, I mean, one
Yeah.
counts.
Just information.
For Catlin, I found Catlin, it's 179.3 shares.
Yeah, 179.
Rocky Ford's 20-something.
Rick Keenitz, I talked to him yesterday. He's willing to come to council to talk to just like an annual update. If
Who, Neil?
Rick
Oh, Rick.
Keenitz, but said that Neil Van Dyke is our proxy. But he was offering to come to like the January 14th meeting because their annual meetings on the 15th, just to update if needed.
Rocky Ford ditch board only meets once a year.
Rocky Ford ditch, we don't have very many.
So last year we awarded 5.661 shares of Rocky Ford ditch. So 5.6 of Rocky Ford ditch and then 179 of Catlin. But Rebecca does have that public notice. It'll be almost the same one, just with the dates updated. So look for a motion to approve the announcement of Catlin Rocky Ford ditch shares for bid.
I make a motion that we approve the announcement of the Catlin and Rocky Ford ditch shares for bid,
And just to lease.
bid to lease.
We can sell them. I'll second that.
And
Call
these
the
are
vote.
sealed bids, right?
Yeah.
Okay, who made the second? I'm sorry.
Me.
Nicole.
Okay, thank you. Roberts,
Yes.
Mullins,
Yes.
Barone,
Yes.
Martinez,
Yes.
Mosby,
Yes.
Mayor Gurley.
Yes. All right,
Oops.
next item we have is 15.4 announcements of RFP for city attorney. So at the last meeting, we discussed whether or not we wanted to put that out for bid. So that was approved then. So we did put the RFP together, and that's ready, and we can take action on that. And it would be ready to post immediately, so as soon as tomorrow. There is a timeline on there for when bids are due, what's required in the bid proposal, and what we're looking at as far as the services that we want. So open it up for any questions or comments there, or any changes you'd like to see in this.
So are we still under contract with Nathan through this date and or past that date?
Yep. So we
Or are we kind of on a month?
should be renewing a contract with our city attorney annually. So that hasn't been done. So right.
Yeah.
So we're under the contract, but the city attorney serves at will at contract. So we can choose not to do business with the city attorney at any time, and a 30-day notice is recommended, but not required
By either party.
by either party.
Okay. So we're just basically putting this out, seeing if there's anyone else interested, hoping that we find a satisfactory contract. Okay.
Correct. To know that we have the best representation
Yes.
that the city of Rocky Ford deserves.
I make a motion that we approve the announcement for the RFP for a city attorney position.
Now, when we have, or do we have to have a second before we?
You have to have a second.
Oh, yeah. Look for a second.
I second.
So we'll open
So-
discussion now.
I would like to add, under scope of services, that the attorney is here during council meetings.
And would you require that? So a couple of things on that, and the way that this was kind of written was intentional. So a couple things on that. Would you want, does appearance mean in person only, or would they also be able to come via virtually via Zoom?
Me personally, I like them here in person because I like to be able to look at somebody when I talk to them. If we're gonna start doing more Zoom stuff, which I'm okay with, I mean, that's kind of where the world's moving, then I'd suggest we find a way to get a monitor on that wall so that we can see who's on Zoom.
We can
So
see
we
them on this.
Well, but if we put this down, then
Then we can't see that.
the audience. So a secondary screen that we could use to monitor Zoom would make it easier on me personally to talk to, it's hard to talk to somebody who's not there. I don't even like using the phone.
And maybe even a monitor here and a monitor there so that we're able to
Possibly,
see
yeah.
it from different directions
I mean,
and.
I know that's extra money, but
We had that, COVID.
Not much. It's,
Yeah, it's
yeah,
a couple
no, yeah.
monitors.
We would definitely, as we start, if we move in that direction, whether it's, for the city attorney or for someone presenting or for public comment, we're going to have to make some adjustments. in
well, and that
here.
would also give us the ability to do public comment through Zoom and different
Well,
things.
and it'd be nice to see Thomas as he's speaking to us.
Right.
And
But yeah, if we were doing something like that, I'd be totally open to virtual. I know that when we have discussions and we want to ask our lawyer, it'd be nice if we could do something here, not hoping he responds to us with other, because we know we're not their only client. So we know if we send an email, it could take a couple of days, it could take a couple of weeks. I'd prefer to have kind of here.
So we're hearing a change there, and it's, you want to require city attorney present at all council meetings?
Gotta make a motion for that.
Well, we're still on discussion
We're
on
just in
that.
discussion at the moment.
Yeah, no, we're good. We're still on discussion. So that's kind of what we're hearing from Nick. So if anyone else has anything?
So, and then basically how they want to be paid, hourly or a flat rate. I mean, if we're gonna be, some of these meetings, well,
Somebody mentioned combination too.
well, yeah, I mean, yeah, how they want to word it for their, they can put a flat rate for a certain amount and then anything beyond.
Well, and if there's something on the agenda that we feel that we're gonna have additional legal question on, we can always make a special request that they're in person on and things like that. You know, when we're having a normal meeting that doesn't have a lot of different things on it that aren't gonna need that, Zoom might be okay because maybe we don't need to ask him a bunch of questions when he's there if we need him. But if we know that it's gonna be a meeting like last week or this week or whatnot, then they're present and we ask for them to be here as a courtesy or, you know, to help us in when we need it the most.
You know, we would get a better, I personally think we would get a better turnout of interested lawyers if we let the Zoom thing go, because, I mean, being realistic, how many local lawyers do we have around here that would be able to do it? So now if you get somebody out of Pueblo, Denver, Spain, wherever they are, you know, they can do it this way. We don't have all the travel expenses and everything involved. We have a bigger selection. Oh,
That's a very good point.
Yeah, it does lighten the pool.
Yeah, so right now we are requesting that they attend all meetings. So I think the question is whether so it currently says meetings may be attended in person or remotely. So I think it's, do we want to keep that, provide that option, or do we want to strike that and require them to be in person only?
Well, it says usually requested to attend. I don't want to leave it as a request. I want them to be present, whether it's through Zoom or not. I'm paying a guy to be here and do a job, and I expect him to be here. You know, what me and my son do, if somebody pays me to mow their lawn, they expect me to show up and do it.
Well, I think the question is, when you say here, do you want them here physically?
No, I mean, if we're here through Zoom, I'm okay with that for the majority of it, you know. But at least, because at least then they're still here. We can still, you know, Thomas is here. We can talk to him. So I don't like this, you know, anyone sends an email, we'll ask them. We kind of need some of these answers when we need these answers.
Okay, so that would be, the city attorney is required to attend all, and then that second piece says, or a selected portion of. So do we want that to read, the city attorney is required to attend all council meetings?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Rather virtually or.
Yeah, either remotely or in person.
Or speak someone on their behalf.
Or at least, yeah, if it's a firm, at least somebody from their firm, right? I don't know how that works, but.
So I think.
Well, yeah, typically when you retain a firm, you don't necessarily get represented by that name on the door. It's usually one of their, it's gonna be attorney, but it's like someone that works below.
All right, let's bring it back. I'm gonna recognize over here who, nobody over there? Okay, Nicole?
Oh, I was just saying that even if it's someone from their legal team, that even when you hire a legal firm, that you may not necessarily get that. You know, we're with Schultz now, we get Nathan often, but that doesn't mean we may not get
The doctors and the PAs.
And so there is a section in there that outlines that in their proposal, they would list the members of their firm who would possibly be involved in us, as well as the different rates for that person. So we would know if we're getting an aid or, you know, what level of service we're being provided. So good there, I have a change that we will make that will say the city attorney is required to attend 2 council meetings a month. Goes on there. And may be requested to attend the planning commission. And then goes on. That's the change. Everyone's good with that?
So do I need to retract my
Yeah,
motion?
yes.
And I retract my previous motion and make a motion to approve the RFP for the city attorney with the changes made.
A second.
So we have a motion from Councilwoman Roberts, second from Martinez. Will you call the vote, Rebecca?
This was an amended motion then, right?
I retracted my
Okay,
motion and made
okay.
a new.
Okay, Mullins,
Yes.
Barone,
Yes.
Martinez.
Yes.
Mosby,
Yes.
Roberts.
Yes.
Mayor Gurley.
Yes. Okay, that's approved and we'll get that, we'll pass this, make the corrections, pass it on to Rebecca, and we'll get that RFP posted. All right, the next item we have, 15.5, will be the declaration of vacancy for City Council Member Ward 2, following Councilman Herrera moving on and going into retirement. We now have a vacant seat open in Ward 2, which is kind of the middle section of the city, running from north to south. So we would be declaring a vacancy now. Rebecca would post that notice of vacancy, and we would go through that process of soliciting letters of interests from eligible electors in Ward 2, and we would review those at a future council meeting and make that appointment to fill that seat.
What's our timeline on that?
60 days
60 days.
from the declaration.
So we have 60 days from the date of announcement, and if we are unable to fill that seat by appointment within that 60th day, then we have to move on to an election, special election.
We're gonna have a warm body in there.
That's all we need some days.
So
Well, I
are
don't think you
we,
guys realize how expensive a special election will be.
yeah. So if we have 60 days from today,
Yes.
so that means we have until
Yeah.
approximately
Well, it would be-
February.
Yes, so we'll be kind of asking people to maybe submit them by the January 14 or 28 meeting. What would it be?
That's what I was trying to ask.
And that gives you a little leeway in case no one responds or you don't choose to appoint. Then you have a few more weeks maybe to
Shoot
get
for
someone
more.
by that 60 days.
So the
Okay.
14th of January.
So motion to make that declaration of vacancy.
Make a motion to. Make a motion to approve 15 new business, 15.5 declaration of vacancy for city council member Ward 2.
A second.
Call the vote.
Barone,
Yes.
Martinez.
Yes.
Mosby,
Yes.
Roberts.
Yes.
Mullins,
Yes.
Mayor Gurley.
Yes. Okay, so that is announced, and anyone listening and for council, yeah, if anyone has any questions, one of the questions that I think the primary question comes up is what ward do I live in? What is Ward 2? There is a map on the City of Rocky Ford website under City Council, and you could view the ward maps there. So that's a really good resource to direct people to.
Or they can call me and I can
Call
put
in.
on the register.
Well, and it's the middle of the street west from 10th Street and
11th,
middle of the
isn't it?
street east from 7th Street.
Yes.
So
Yeah, it's from what, the library over to what, the
The only city ward map that I've received is in black and white.
We have
Oh,
a
yeah,
real
the
big
hard-
one in my office.
Yeah, but that's in your office, but I'm just saying maybe
We-
if it's online or something that they're gonna be looking at where it's, I don't wanna say color coded or just easier to determine the line, because the
We
one I
definitely
have,
do what?
the one that I have, it's really hard to see where.
Just direct them to me
Order.
and I'll be happy to help.
I was the same way when I got down. I was like, where is this?
It's under the city council.
Because it runs down the alley at one point, up there towards
the other end of the alley and.
Good there? Yeah. All right, that's all we have for business today. We'll move on to our second public comment. Looking at you, Gary.
He left.
I don't have anything else to say.
No.
Well, you know what, I do, really.
Gary.
But it's changed your mind.
That's all excited.
So, your proclamation, what's it, the proclamation for the
Eagle
Eagle
Scout.
Scout? So I just want to say that I've known that kid for a long time, and he's been in the station a few times, you know, talking about his thing, and as a father of an Eagle Scout, I also sat on Eagle Scout boards for many kids, and this kid had a very good project for his Eagle Scouts, and he did all the work to do it. I mean, he went above and beyond what it took to do it. So, and again, after sitting on many Eagle Scout boards, this kid went way over and above what a lot of kids do. So I think it's a good thing.
Awesome.
He's still a Scoutmaster? Not anymore. Not anymore.
You're retired.
All right, we'll move on to council comments, and we'll start with Thomas. Get ready. You can kick us off on council comments.
Oh, we're going backwards today. That's nice. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, great. Well, give me just 1 second here. I'm going to pull up the curator report. Okay.
It is.
I actually don't have that on hand right now. I know that I believe it's in February, we are going to have a guest speaker, an expert speaker about the concentration camps that were for the Japanese and other races during World War II. Should be really interesting. There isn't going to be one this month, as I stated in the last meeting. So that's what we got going on with the museum right now. And then to the council and to Rebecca and everyone else there that's not feeling well, I hope that everyone else starts feeling well. I didn't come in today. I'm not feeling too bad, but I just didn't want anybody to get sick from me. So I hope everybody starts feeling well, and I hope everybody has a great time visiting family and whatever your holiday tradition are. I hope that you celebrate them. And let me see. Well, because I don't know that this is a topic that's going to go away quickly. It's something I think there's going to be more discussion on. But I'm sure everyone there and probably most people saw the post that I made a week or two ago, and I just want to reiterate that I stand by that, and I stand by all aspects of that, and I think people need to keep that in mind. There's been a lot of demonization that I think is unjust when it comes to Nicole. There are problems that I see here, and that's why I made the comment I did. But Tom Martin didn't come in here and just be an innocent bystander. He came in here and baited every single one of us, insulted every one of us before he even had a recommendation for us. And then he made misogynistic comments. I'm sorry. I don't know how else to look at it. He was just rude. And I hear people that, oh, as a politician, that's just what we're just supposed to take it. But that comes back, and threats come back on my family and stuff, and I don't appreciate it. And I'm sure that comes Councilman Roberts' way too. So people, you come in here to make comments, we appreciate it. But the respect you want us to pay you, it should be paid back to us too. At least have the courtesy to know that if you're exaggerating stuff about us or you're making claims about us, and you're presenting this anger well, you better make sure it's really justified, because that really puts our families at risk sometimes, and I don't appreciate it. So that's all I got to say about that. My position hasn't really changed, but let's keep a level head on things. That's all I got today.
Thank you, Thomas. We'll move on over down to Nick.
All right. I don't have anything for tree board. We're still on break. It's cold out there. Trees are napping. I'd like to thank everybody who has attended Fireside this year. We had JR, Laura, Sawyer was there last night. We had a pretty good discussion, I think. I've shared those things with Stacy, and we'll do what we need to do. And I'd like to invite everybody. Of course, it's, what are we looking at? Sorry, my numbers are really tiny. The 13th of January will be the next one. 13th, right? Yep, 13th will be the next one, Fireside. I'd love to see everybody there. Shoot me messages for how we can make it better, or what the community would like to see. I'm open to any changes, be it day, time, or what we do. That's all I got. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Councilman Harron, move on to you.
If I may, I want to compliment Nick for taking the initiative to do that every month.
Thank
you. Good for you.
It's hard, especially when you have low turnout. I've missed his last, I think, 3 of them, but it's hard. You know, we do this for the community. Just like Council Member Mullins was saying, you know, we give our time. This is something we chose to do, to give back to the community. And like I said, this is your community. You know, please come, attend, participate. You know, don't, you know, be part of the solution. You know, come and give us your opinion, that's fine, but help us fix what you see is wrong or what is wrong. You know, because a lot of times you're right. You know, we need all the help we can. This is just the 6 of us, 7 of us, and it takes the community to rise. So please, don't just voice your opinions. Help us come up with solutions. Please, just be here. Let us know you're there. I'd like to do a shout out to all the employees, all the volunteers for all the Christmas decorations that have gone on. The Chamber of Commerce for their party, the Christmas light up parades. I mean, there's so much involved in that with the people that are giving. You know, decorations. I was telling Ray Gonzalez, our fire chief, how over the years I've decorated my house, won a lot of awards through the city, through the paper, whatever. That's not why we did it. We just did it to do it. But there's a lot of work involved in this. And the people that do decorate, I'm sure you know how much there is. So just everybody that's been involved this holiday season, with everything you've done with the lights, the movies, Santa Claus and Miss Claus that showed up at the theater 2 weekends ago for all the kids. Thank you for your time. Thank you for giving back. You know, there's so much that it takes to do this stuff. The Grand Theater 2 weeks ago, 2 Saturdays ago, we had the first Christmas movie. It was How the Grinch Stole Christmas. There was a really good turnout. I understand about 200 kids, 200 people that visited. And the sponsor for the first one was CCOM and First National Bank. The kids got in, you know, are allowed to come in for free. They also get a small soda and a small popcorn. I took my grandson to that one. He enjoyed it. Santa Claus was outside. He got kind of scared, but when you're young, I mean, he is kind of scary looking, I guess. But for the people that volunteered at the Grand for that, thank you for being there, doing that. The sponsors, CCOM, First National Bank, thank you. The second movie, sorry I missed it. I had some other engagements there, but the second was Christmas Vacation. The sponsor was Angela Ayala from La Junta. She's a Remax Advantage agent, but she sponsored that one. So thank you, Miss Ayala. Appreciate that. Everybody, the turnout wasn't so great. It was less than half of what the first one was, but every Saturday we're doing this. Going to be 2 more Saturdays. The Grand on December the 14th. They're going to be showing Alf, sponsored by First National Bank. And once again, the kids, the people that go get free admission, free small popcorn, free soda. So please come and attend, enjoy the movie. Even if you've seen it once, watch it again. If the kids are enjoying it. The last movie, and these are all shown on Saturdays at 1:30 p.m. The last movie will be on December the 21st. It's going to be the Polar Express, sponsor a small town project. And they're also going to be a Christmas sweater sponsored by the Apodaca Fireworks. To be, once again, the free soda, or I guess that one will have free medium popcorn on that one by a small town project. So in the Apodaca, thank you for doing going to be doing that one on the 21st. So maybe we see some Apodaca's out there with some different Christmas sweaters. But thank you for all of that, keeping everything going for the kids. Moana, that's two. She did very well the first week. It was there for 2 weeks. I'm not sure the second week. I don't think it did as great, but it was still a good turnout. About 500 people or so over both weekends. So good turnout, very good turnout. Upcoming this weekend, it's going to be the greatest Christmas pageant ever. So please come, and that's going to be Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday afternoon. I'd like to do a special shout out to, I was busy this weekend with the Spay Neuter Clinic at Swing. Swing sponsored a Spay Neuter Clinic. It was the first time that they did it, and they also kind of changed it up, where the San Luis Valley Alliance, Spay Neuter Alliance, came down, and they brought their volunteers, and the vets and the techs get paid, but everybody else is with them as volunteers. It went very well. Over 350 animals over the 3 days, long days. I mean, there was one morning, it was 1 o'clock. The first night, people that volunteered to clean up everything, my understanding, they didn't get out there till 1 a.m. So hats off to you guys. It was sponsored by Positive Pathways out of Swink. Second Chance for Ever Home, which maybe with Rocky Ford PD, if we get some animals that we have no room, these people, if we have some that have been locked up for a while and you need to try to find a home for them or get them where they don't get put down, place and swing. Positive Pathways with the PAW. That's another resource for Rocky Ford. They don't have a lot. I mean, that's something to look at besides having to go Springs, Pueblo, Denver to rehome these animals. The Positive Canine Solutions there, it's a dog training place. They train animals and everything. You can go there. It's right on Main Street on Columbia, 221 Columbia. So, but they're doing great. You know, they help you train your dogs and everything. They're doing these clinics. There will be another clinic that come out of this one. It's going to be a Bergen Spay Neuter out of Denver came down and also helped on this one. That was the second one. And in February, Swink and Rocky Ford, my understanding, are going to get together. And Swink is going to have the San Luis Valley Spay Neuter Alliance over there to do all the cats. Rocky Ford will have Bergen Spay Neuter Alliance here in Rocky Ford at the fairgrounds, and they'll be doing all dogs. So, Lahana, where are you? I've been trying to get Lahana involved in this, other than bringing the animals. I mean, come on, guys, give them a venue. That's all they're asking for, a venue. You know, I mean, it's not that hard. I mean, Rocky Ford's been doing it since 2019. You know, and the majority of these spay or these feral cats are coming out of Lahana. I mean, I'm going to call it the way I see it. I'm there. I'm helping. I'm seeing numbers. So Lahana, step up to the plate, please. Quit blowing smoke. Don't mean to say it like that, but I mean, it is what it is. So thank you for everybody that was involved. The cost will go up. Swink was only charging 10 for cats, 25 for dogs. My February is going to be 25 across the board for cats and dogs. That's still cheap, people. That's still cheap. So I'd like to thank OJC wrestling team. Coach showed up there and they came in 3 different shifts, but the wrestlers showed up to that and they were great help. So if anybody sees the wrestlers out of London from OJ, thank you guys. I had a chat with them about small town project, man. You guys got nothing to do. Come and help us Tuesdays and Wednesdays. And the last 2 meetings I've talking about this time of year. It's a joyous time of the season, but it's also about the worst time of the season for suicides. Please, if you see somebody that's acting different or whatever, I mean, there's a lot of pressure with the holidays, with jobs, furloughs, money, going on trips to visit or having people come over. There's just a lot of things going on at this time of year. And if you can change one life in a generation or two, you don't know how many hundreds of lives you've changed, like by saving that one. But if just lend them an ear, lend them a shoulder, give them a number. You can call 1-844-493-TALK, which is 8255. Or you can text TALK to 38255. And that's a 24/7, 365 hotline. You can also do a suicide prevention call on 988. It's a statewide lifeline.org. So please, people, it's a joyous time, but there's a lot of people that don't, whether it be homeless, it could be just whatever problem it is. Just if you see somebody acting different, please offer them an ear, offer them a phone number or whatever. Just sit down and have a chat. And with that, Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Thank you.
Got anything to say?
No, I don't. I feel like he's saying something or reporting on something, and I'm not quite sure what at this time. So
He's a committee.
yeah,
The
still
library's
taking
looking
it all
for-
in.
Yeah,
representative.
so kind of what we'll do too is next beginning of the year, we kind of do our reorganization. So everyone has different committees. And that's kind of the opportunity if someone wants to trade with someone. We tried to at least make sure everyone has at least one. But we'll do that at the beginning of the year. And then, yeah, right now is kind of that time where we share back some of the things happening from those different commissions we're on, or some of the other, meetings or events we've been at, or just, good time to, provide any feedback you hear from community. I know Larry was always really great about taking notes, and he would use this time to read some of those. So it's kind of what we have for that. And then, yeah, as we go on, you'll get busier and have more to share, but yeah, no worries.
We've had a lot going on at the chamber. Like Robert mentioned, we had the Parade of Lights on November 30th. I don't think I ever remember a time having that big of a turnout. Driving down Main Street and seeing that many people lined up and just celebrating town. It was, my heart was so full at the end of that night. I mean, I've never seen Rocky Ford come together that amazingly. Like, so many people were there. There's people surrounding the tree to light it, even though I fumbled. And then just the sheer amount of people inside. The line to see Santa was to the kitchen most of the night. I mean, it was unbelievable, the amount of people that showed up. We ran out of chili. We served every ounce of chili that we have. Most of us that were serving didn't even really get much, maybe a partial bowl. All the cookies were gone. We ran out of hot chocolate. It was just sheer magic in there that night. So thank you, Rocky Ford. Thank you for coming out. Thank you for supporting us. And thank you for just being the best part of Rocky Ford. We wouldn't be Rocky Ford without all the people that just come out and support the things that we do. So that was wonderful. This past weekend, we had a cancer survivor dinner and dance at the Gobin building. It wasn't super well attended. Those that came had an amazing time. Just a rough time of year. A lot of people had other things going on. The toy dance was that night, Lahaina's Parade of Lights. But it was a good turnout for what was there, and they made some fundraising and stuff like that, and honored AJ Quick out of Shira, who's been battling cancer for quite some time now. So that was successful. This weekend is a private party. And then the following weekend, we've got 2 Christmas events happening. On the 20th from 5 to 8 the Gobin building is the Arc Valley Arc Valley Fiesta Royalties Christmas party. If you haven't purchased your tickets for their giant Christmas stocking giveaway, get with one of the AVR Fiesta Royalty contestants and get those purchased. And then the following day is the Women's Business Collective Christmas vendor market, I believe, is what they're rolling with right now. That will be on Saturday from, I think, 4 to 8. We'll have some nice festive drinks and things like that available, so you can sip and shop and play, do activities with your kids. There'll be cookie decorating, letters to Santa, things like that. The mailbox for letters to Santa is making its way around town. It spent last week at Maya's over by Sonic. Monday, it relocated itself to Harris Pharmacy. It's in that back hallway. There are forms on the mailbox that you can fill out if you're not quite sure how to write your letter to Santa. You can get that filled out, stick it in the box, and we'll make sure those all get to the appropriate person. And what else do we have going on? I think that's most of what we've got going on. Ready for the new year, and things are still going on at the chamber, and just our toy drive. That's the last thing I needed to talk about. So the chamber is been gathering some toys. We've got several bags full at this point. We are still taking requests from families that need some little help this year. And also we could use some donations for some older kids. Older kids are not who we usually get donations for. We get lots of toys and dolls and things like that, but some of the older kids are looking for coats and winter clothes and gloves and things like that that aren't youth and younger sizes. So some adult mediums, larges, and maybe some extra larges, and coats and hats and gloves and things like that, so that we can help some of the older siblings of the younger kids that we're helping. So we're not just dropping off stuff for the little kids, and everyone is able to be included. So that's kind of where we're at. We're taking requests through the end of this week. You can send those to our email address, rockyfordchamber@gmail.com, and I will do my best to meet all of those needs for everyone that we can. The Arc Valley Community Cancer Support Group is also helping with some donations to help make that happen. So just trying to do our best to make sure everyone in the community has a wonderful holiday. So Merry Christmas, Happy New Year's. We'll see you guys after the first year.
All right, thank you. I'm going to pass it back over to Thomas. I have a feeling he has some final words for us. Going once,
Yeah,
Thomas?
thanks about that. I was able to get the curator's report. Thanks mostly to Dwayne and not my technological ability to navigate email. So I'm just going to go ahead and read that. The museum had 73 visitors come to the museum in the month of November. There were 3 different tours, two of which was set up by Darla Marshall. She's one of our board members. I think she's also on the tree board. The high school students from Aerial Lab Club had a total of 23 high school participants. We divided their group in half, allowing for 2 tours. Finally, the last tour was Jerry Hodges and her family came out of town for the holidays. Jerry's husband, Bill, was the museum curator from 2004 to 2019. And if you haven't been out to the museum, just so you know, Rob is an expert about just about everything out there, and he is happy to give anyone a tour who shows up there. You don't need to have anything scheduled, although if you have a group of people, it's probably best you do. But pretty much you can just pop in there, and he is happy to show you around, and there's a lot to learn. It's really pretty interesting. I highly recommend it, especially to our council members who may not have been out there. And then throughout the month of November, we have been coordinating with Morgan & Sons for estimates of glass that is broken, chipped, or scratched. This includes like the front door, I think some kids, could have been adults. I think they shot BBs at that, and that's probably been there for years. So we're looking at getting those replaced. There's safety glass there now. We're going to be putting safety glass back in there. Safety glass is like a laminated glass. That's why it didn't shatter when they shot it with the BBs. So it's just something that somebody could bang on or something like that. You don't have to worry about it just shattering and hurting somebody. There are also some chipped glass on showcases or just really scratched up and made it hard to see through, and some of that got replaced. And Morgan and Sons, call out to them. I'm pretty sure they gave us like a special deal. They certainly came out there multiple times and kind of tolerated our questions and changing back and forth on what we wanted to do and what we could do. So they were very accommodating to us on that. And we received a call from Miss Bonnie Swink, Bonnie Swink Moore. I believe that's how you say the last name. I'm sorry if it's not. She stated that she sent 20 signed autograph books, and it's called Rocky Ford, A Taming of the Western Frontier. Those were sent to the museum for sale. As far as I know, we're the only place that has the signed copies available, and they are selling out quick. They were out at Lad and Dad's. They weren't the signed ones, and I think those sold out in like 1 or 2 days. So if you want them, pop over there and grab it because they're not going to be there very, very long. And they're not expensive. I don't remember what it was. I think it's $20, and some of that profit goes right to the museum. So we'll be able to turn around and be able to do some more events for people, which is just great. They'll be available in the gift shop. The gift shop is just you walk in and if you haven't seen the gift shop, don't worry, because I was in there for a year before I found the gift shop. It's just a display case over there by the curator. We got some coffee mugs and some pens and old postcards and stuff there. It'll make a great Christmas gift, and that is pretty much sums up the curator's report. And thank you again, Dwayne, for allowing me to go through that again. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome, and thank you for that, Thomas.
Mr. Mayor, can I have one? And this isn't for me, this is for Council Member Herrera. He's no longer with us right now, but I'm sure he'd like to have this. Santa Claus is gonna be at the Elks Lodge on Sunday. I'm thinking, if I remember right, from 2 to 5, they're gonna have hot dogs, hamburgers, bags of candy for the kids. My understanding they're gonna be giving away 6 bicycles to kids that show up. So please take the kids to the Elks on Sunday. Verify the time. I'm pretty sure it's 2 to 5, but verify the time.
1 to 4, 2 to 5, somewhere. It's, yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor. So that was for Dwayne, that was for Larry. I didn't know.
Yeah, so I'll start with the Parade of Lights. So attended the Parade of Lights and the tree lighting and the community dinner. So, with that, I want to say thank you to Nicole and the Chamber for leading that event. I think this year was a great success, and the tree was really a great re-addition to Main Street.
Fire department.
So yeah, thanks
Thank
everyone
you.
for getting that going.
Fire department.
It was really cool to come together and be there. Can we check you? And the community dinner was great. So want to give a direct thank you to Councilman Barone for standing in as Santa's proxy. He's one of the proxies.
They said
Oh, I know. There were several kids who were like, "That's the real Santa. He's got a real beard."
he just did.
They're asleep.
They're asleep right now. So yeah, thank you for being willing to put on the suit. There's a lot of responsibility that comes with being Santa and being in that role for the kids. So thank you, and want to say thank you to Councilwoman Mosby for providing the photo booth and allowing everybody who attended to capture those memories there. I know my family and then my daughter and their friends took one, so those are great, and we'll be able to have them to look back on forever. And it was amazing. Food always brings people together, and it's always great to just enjoy everything about each other around food. So the chili was amazing, and it was, miraculously we made it through everyone, and a few people were able to come up for seconds, but only a few. Definitely had to pull out more tables and more chairs. So just an amazing night. So yeah, thank you for everyone's involvement. And yeah, the dancers, Lisa getting that group together. So they were able to perform this Rocky Ford Elementary storytellers were able to perform. So yeah, just overall great night. Great way to kick off the holiday season, Christmas season in Rocky Ford. Been in so kind of one of the things that I want to try to do is make sure that all of our electeds at different levels know what Rocky Ford needs, know that Rocky Ford exists, and knows what we need, and remembers that there's 3,800 plus people in their districts that that they represent. So want to do everything we can to make sure we have that direct line of communication. So last time we had Senator Pelton and Representative Winter here to visit. Those are our state House of Representatives leader and state Senate leader. So also been in communication with Congressman-elect Jeff Hurd, who is now our CD3 representative, and he's going to try to work something out to make it down here. So Stacy and I are going to coordinate that. But yeah, so as just be ready to let them know the needs that we have here consistently, and just like anyone can reach out to a council member or the mayor by email or phone. There also are representatives, and we do have that line of communication to them as constituents. But then I think along with this position, it makes it a little bit easier to get a response. So definitely want to make sure that we're doing everything we can to represent for our community at all levels. So we'll be having that coming up early next year before they get into session. So I'm thinking, we're hoping it'll be the January 14th meeting. Because if not, they're going to be taken off to DC for sessions. Along with that, I attended the Latino elected officials convening in Denver yesterday. So I was able to talk to several of our state reps and senators. They're not specifically for our district, but they are still all going to be voting and making decisions that are going to impact us. So definitely wanted to let them know about the needs that we have around infrastructure and funding, and wanting to make sure that funding's there. One of the big things that I talked about was, at the state level, please don't let all the talk about the Arkansas Valley Conduit and all of these news articles about funding being thrown out the Arkansas Valley Conduit think that all of our water quality and water access issues are solved, because we still have these tier 3 infrastructure needs that we need to find funding for before we can even connect to the conduit. So wanted to make that clear that the conduit is not going to solve, it's not going to be the end all be all solution, and we still need a lot more funding directed at infrastructure. And something else I talked about and had like a real world example was providing that technical assistance for communities like ours who don't have the capacity, the staffing capacity to have grant writers in several departments, let alone just even one for the entire city. So them being able to provide that technical assistance, we're leveraging that right now through the governor's office, and hopefully that is going to make a big, huge difference. So those are things that they can do that can help us Yeah, want to make sure that Rocky Ford's voice is heard at all levels outside of our city limits. There's going to be a bunch of things coming up. I think we heard most all those covered. The one that I didn't, the Santa will be making another visit to Rocky Ford. So he'll be visiting right in front of City Hall on Friday, December 20th at 5 p.m. So thank you to the Public Works, and I'm not sure if anybody else is involved in making that happen, but yeah, thank you to Public Works for getting Santa out here again. And
all over the place that weekend. Everywhere.
Santa will be visiting across from the Grand at the Chavez's house. He always comes, and Mr. and Mrs. Claus and some of the elves visit over there. So he'll be out there on Saturday and Sunday this week.
And probably the following weekend, usually too.
So those are the things happening. Won't have any of my commissions coming up, so probably have some reports in the second meeting in January. I think most of us will. But one thing I wanted to just kind of end on, it's our last meeting of the year. We vacated our December 24th meeting. So wanted to read something, and with that, just take a moment to reflect on the accomplishments and the projects that we have led and that have taken a step forward. Thanks to everyone in our city for that. I think one of the big things for this year to acknowledge is we do have a new city manager. So Stacy, thank you for everything you've done. Just really hit the ground running and being the leader that we deserve in Rocky Ford. So thank you for that. I think 2024 is I think a new time and a new direction. We've been, I've been talking a lot about, like, we just need to get back to the basics, and that's kind of what we're doing. We're getting some of these different policies in place, some of these guides and those things. So we got to start there before we can move forward and start doing all the amazing things that Rocky Ford can do. But it starts with the basics. So thank you to everyone for all the time. I want to just acknowledge that time commitment that everyone has given outside of just these couple 2 hours 2 times a month. I think this council has really raised the bar there on council involvement, and I appreciate that. And yeah, let's keep that going into 2025. Grateful for the dedication and resilience of our city staff and the community members. We've had some, of course, we've had some big accomplishments. Rocky Ford as a community has also faced a lot of tragedy, has also faced a lot of tough decisions. So through that, thank you to everyone for doing your part in getting us through this. Whatever it is, whatever the situation is, everyone always makes it through to a better place. And for us as the body that kind of sets the direction for this city, we're going to do that, and the community is going to continue to move forward. So thank you to everyone for everything, and I think looking ahead into next year, really want to kind of look at a spirit, what I'm going to say is a spirit of unity, collaboration, and optimism, and hope that defines our community for the next year and beyond. So with that, happy holidays to everyone. My family's celebrating Christmas, so Merry Christmas to everyone, and we'll see you all in 2025. One final comment from JR.
I want to thank Small Town Project and Dwayne for the second year of cooperating on the third year on the Christmas decorating contest for houses and businesses. Thank you.
Can I say one more thing?
Everybody gets one more.
Right. No, I'm going to ask permission to post on Facebook. I think we should name our new dump truck and our new loader. I think we should ask the citizens for name recommendations and then vote on them. And here in a month or two, officially name them. I think it'd be kind of fun.
That's a fantastic
I
idea.
don't want to go post all willy-nilly and not have the support of everybody.
Do you want to put together like a real survey form? We could do that.
If we
In
could do
about
that
5
without
minutes.
spending extra money, we
Yeah,
could do that,
we
yeah.
we could do it.
I think it'd be neat. And I'm okay with Big Nick,
So-
but I mean, there's already one of us.
Maybe
so-
what we can do is we can create one that's just open-ended,
Okay.
so they can put a name in, and then from those names that they put in, we'll create a second
Yeah, and then we vote on those.
stage that actually has the names that people can vote from, and maybe we can try to have it done by February, and name it and get it badged and get the plates on
That
and everything.
loader is sweet.
Yeah, so the dump truck though, that dump truck's pretty nice
It's so
too.
big.
Okay, let's do it. We'll get that survey created, and once we'll get it over to you and you post that.
Sounds good.
Get it all shared. All right, our next meeting will be January 14th, 2025 at 6 PM. We'll do our work session, 7 PM. We'll do our regular council meeting. No other business. Call meeting adjourned, 9:09 PM.
Decorated my Christmas tree.
I do, I have, does it go to the
All right. That's that. Name the dump truck, guys.
Miz most hated.
Name the dump truck. I was gonna ask him, since it's Rocky Ford, like Rocky Ford Meloniers, Rocky Ford Melons, like, can we hang some melon balls off the back of it? That'd be
I
fun.
don't know. I don't know about you guys, but I think it's hilarious that they were worried about all kinds of things, the conflict of interest part of the code of conduct. You just can't make it up. I mean, the Chamber of Commerce, there's 6 out of 9 board members that are all related in one way, shape, or form. You know what I mean? Tell me there's not a conflict of interest there. And here's the funny part. The funny part is one of the people that works or is part of the Chamber of Commerce is the mayor's wife. I mean, and that kind of brings up another question that I have for because apparently I'm not getting my stuff, my requests answered out that way, or at least my friend isn't. I know I had requested something, maybe it wasn't from them, but a friend of mine was requesting stuff out there. He's not getting his stuff filled. As a matter of fact, they went so far as to tell him that on one request that he did, that they were giving him the stuff he requested, then they weren't. Then they were going to charge him for X amount of hours, and then when he questioned all the time frame and how many like body cameras, how many body cameras there were that had to be processed through that fee that she wanted him to pay and stuff. All of a sudden, without a judge's order, the case became a sealed case. I'm at a loss. I don't get it, guys. But yet, in all the counties that this guy talked to, right, all the courthouses, the combined courts, all of them, there's absolutely no record of the arrest that took place. How's
Maybe
that
it didn't happen.
Yeah. I guess they imagine those bruises, right?
Well, it's funny what you can get away with once you're a part of government because, law enforcement doesn't know how to handle government.
Yeah. Well, I heard a whole lot of government tonight. I don't know.
Oh, man. And the Los Animas meeting was going on tonight, too. I looked kind of pumped up. I was watching them both.
I wonder if
So
oh no, that's Trinidad.
they're both on Facebook, guys. Any of you guys that want to go see them, you can see them on Facebook. Rocky Ford has theirs on Facebook. Los Animas, City of Los Animas has theirs on Facebook as well. Oh, and Trinidad was doing one this evening as well. I think county commissioners meeting.
Hey, I wonder if my friend
So
Johnson. I wonder if my friend Johnson was working that room in Trinidad.
the Grande Johnson.
Yeah, Grande Johnson. You know him. Have you met him? He's El Grande.
El Grande. The real Johnson. Yep. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, they didn't I don't know. They're gonna do their conflict of interest thing. We'll see what comes of it.
Yeah, well, there's a bunch of other stuff going on out here that are questionable. I mean, you had the incident, what, in November with the mayor pro tem, right? Um, there's a lot of questions there too.
Yeah.
It's not a good look for this place. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I could have sworn that I heard the mayor say to us in a show that we did where I just happened to come up, where he said that Rockyford was real good when it came to core requests. I don't know about you, but my friend don't seem to think so.
Yeah, that's what I heard him say. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, we requested from there a while back, We went in and asked for a budget from them. Something that like should have been readily available. It was the last year's budget too, not even like the present year's budget. And they couldn't supply that for us. We ended up having to get it sent to us through the accountant or some shit like that, if I remember right. So, yeah,
Wow.
makes you wonder.
Yeah.
That was just a budget, It wasn't expenditures or anything like that.
Yeah, and if I remember
So,
correctly, I think I had a run-in with their attorney out there at one point.
go nasty Nathaniel.
Yeah, that's him. Nathan.
Yeah, he's something else. He's a tool.
I'm sure they hate to see him go.
Anyway, that's something they're gonna have to get figured out. They're gonna have to find some good representation.
What happens if they lose Nathan and they got no representation and something happens?
Well, I don't think Nathan does much as it is. So I think they're gonna look around. They'll find somebody else. Like they say, maybe they can do something where they can do it remotely and shit. So, yeah, that was a long meeting. 3 hours, almost 3 hours, 15 minutes. So, I suppose we'll get her done, and you guys all have a good night, and we'll catch you on the next one. Something like that.
Yep. All right, guys.
Yeah.
All right.
That was a long one. All right, guys. We'll see you next time.
Have a great night,
Everybody have a
everybody.
good night.
Night, folks.